This is the Milty's World podcast. Thanks for joining in. I've got my best friend in the world here, the Jonathan for Realz. He is an enigma. He is a legend. He is Jonathan for Realz. I mean, what else can you say?
It's me. It's me, Jonathan for Realz. For real. Hey, what? Wow. This is a very strange thing. I have been all week. I have been like reflecting on how bizarre this is because we've been friends for so long, and then you asked me to be on your podcast, and I was like, I didn't even know you had a podcast, and you're like, well, it's new, and I'm like, all right, well, this is exciting, and I'm like, how's this gonna go? Because it feels like we're like just like hanging out for the first time in a very long time, and that is what's happening.
That's what I want it to be, man. So yeah, basically, I just want to do, like, back in the day, we used to sit in my car after church, talk about everything. Remember that?
We did. You would sing. Do you remember?
My
you
girlfriend?
would sing the Nicole Kidman song
Yes.
to Leonard Skinner, "Tuesday's Gone."
Nicole Kidman is my girlfriend, and that all came about because of that movie Cold Mountain. And
Cold Mountain.
that one
which,
scene
by the way,
with the naked part.
yeah. Which, by the way,
I
if
didn't have a crush
there's
on her.
any Nicole Kidman movie where she's going to be nude that you're going to base like a crush off of, Cold Mountain is not the one. Like, it's Eyes Wide Shut all day. But Cold Mountain is like Log Cabin, Little House on the Prairie, Nicole Kidman.
Dude, I've never seen.
And that's the one.
I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut before.
You've never seen Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
That's insane. Not even for that, like, not even for the Nicole Kidman thing.
No, dude.
Just for the fact, like, that movie is bananas.
I must have to
it's
look it up.
bananas.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
And the like, and the making of it, and the like lore, and the like possible conspiracies, and like it's a weird situation. It's a rabbit hole.
Okay.
It's a weird rabbit hole.
I must need to look into this. So I want to go over, let's start at the beginning. All right. So my dad was a pastor, and you went to the church that he got to go be a pastor at after the one that he was at before, which is how it works sometimes. And
that is how it happens.
I never met you, and came in on, what was it, Sunday school, and Norma. Can we say names? I think we can.
Norma Jean.
Norma Jean. Yeah. Old Norma Jean. That was her name.
We'll just leave it at Norma Jean.
Name.
It could be any Norma Jean. Any Norma Jean in the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. She was special. She was a good lady. But, yeah, she was the Sunday school teacher, and I came in, and I don't know how it happened, but it was instant. Maybe you could enlighten me.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I kind of I have if you could put up with my weirdness, then we're friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind
Yeah.
of one of those people, like, I like people, you know? And if you can put up with me, then I can put up with you, you know? Like, that's how human interaction works, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like,
So, and I don't know, I was a weird kid. You were somebody who was like, I can hang out with a weird kid. And here we are.
for sure, dude. Man, I think one thing about it was I never was like cool with like the jock type dudes because I had always like, I don't know. I was always more quiet. I like to play video games. I like to listen to rock music. I was more into like watching BMX and stuff like that, skateboarding, not football. I only went to football games because there were girls there, right? And those guys.
What year was it that you moved there?
2003 was the year I graduated, so it would have either been 2002 or 2003.
Okay, all right. So, all right, it's starting to come back to me. It's starting to come back to me where this all came about.
And honestly,
okay?
before that, I was in my shell. I was totally in my shell, and we became best friends. And then you're like, "Hey, dude, Gene has this thing going on in town, and it's community theater." And I was like, "Oh, I can't do that." And you made me.
7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's right. That's right. Oh man, if I had had the foresight to dig around I probably could find
the videos,
clips of this.
Yes, because we have video of it. Evidence.
Yes. There's evidence.
That's hilarious, man.
I was always very meticulous about video documenting things. I believe I shot 7 Brides for 7 Brothers with a multi-camera setup for no reason. I wasn't allowed to sell this to anyone. I mean, I just edited it together for me to watch. I don't know.
For sure. And Clay's mom wanted you to do it too, so that everybody could watch it at the house party.
Oh yeah, Clay.
Remember we went over there?
Clay. Oh,
they had
man.
that big freaking TV, like bigger than anybody else had in the world at the time. And then I don't know if you
bigger than any TV at the world at the time would have been like 70 inches. Like that.
It was. I have a bigger TV than that now. But at the time, there's 50 of us in their house in their living room watching that movie. That was fun.
Going back to how we met, and going back, you said you moved there about 2002 to 2003.
Yeah.
So around that time period was, I'm a couple of years younger than you, and I had just been hawking my first horror movie to all the middle school kids, and you were a high school kid, and I was like, this guy's new. This is a new guy. I can hawk my horror movie that I shot with my parents' video camera. Do you remember The Woods, Milty?
Yeah, dude.
Yes, that was you. I think were the first real positive review of that. Like everybody else was like, "Oh man, that's so cool that you made a movie, Jonathan," and then you really like horror movies.
Hell yeah.
And found footage was kind of a new thing at the time.
Yeah, the Blair Witch had just came out, dude.
I shot The Woods before I had seen the Blair Witch Project,
and your cousin
going back,
Stacey
I'm kind of
was
like,
in it.
Yep. Stacy, anybody that I could get in to come be in it, like
he was like,
hey, can you come out here?
He was this little kid.
Is there a script? It's just little kids, yeah. It was little kids.
We were walking around a cornfield.
Walking around a cornfield.
Remember we tried to get Uncle Sam? We tried to get Uncle Sam to read the narration to it, and he wouldn't do it.
He would not do it. But that was my first foray into hustling a movie. Like anybody, I had like 2 copies of it. I had one copy on a video CD. Which was like a DVD, but not as good.
Not as good.
And then one VHS, the two rentals, you can check them out from me. Go and hawk it to all the middle school and high school kids.
Yeah, and then there was the second horror movie there was The Abandoned House.
We did.
But that was later. That was kind of later because that was around senior year, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah. Oh man, I actually was thinking about this recently. That I think we were onto something with that. If we would have had any money whatsoever, like to put towards it, like if we were not just high school kids with a dream and an idea, I think we were onto something because the idea basically was we had the old Sheffield mansion they would use for the haunted house every year for like the high school.
Yeah.
And we went out there and kind of the idea is that we wanted to get some of our friends to kind of like stay in the house with us, and we were going to kind of like scare them, but also shoot some like plot points and put it all together, and we were going to like film it.
Make it look realistic.
I feel like that's everything that happens on today's reality television. I mean, that's scare tactics.
Absolutely.
We invented scare tactics.
It's too bad that we did it too soon. But I mean, Speaking of things that we came up with too soon, and honestly, I want to talk to you about this later, maybe eventually. Remember Smokey?
Yeah.
Dude, you kind of played that character in one of on your film reel that's out.
Yeah.
It's kind of him. It's kind of him.
It is. No, that's actually true. That whenever I was, so you're bringing up my acting reel, which is, I don't know where exactly you got access to my acting reel.
It's totally on YouTube right now.
It is somewhere on YouTube.
I
You're
just
right.
typed in your name and it's there.
Oh, I didn't realize it was unlisted. Oops, that is a bad on my part. You're not typically supposed to keep your reel public. You're sending it out to management and agents.
There's that on there.
But anyway,
there is.
I'm not very professional.
There
but,
is. I was on The Walking Dead on there.
I was.
That was on there.
I was.
You were.
I was on The Walking Dead.
You killed something with a red umbrella.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, people died. People died on account of me.
Not because they got their eye poked out during the break, but
the Walking Dead thing was super weird because, so like I had my role was super tiny. But it was like super specific and odd.
Yeah.
And so like when it happened, I actually forgot that was airing, and I was running a video camera at a cheerleading competition, and my phone just started going off like crazy, and I was like, what is happening? Is there like an emergency? So I like kind of like go to check like what's happening, and it was me. I was on The Walking Dead. I was like, it's been a while since I filmed that, but yes. Your
monologue.
Then the hate started from people that didn't know me.
Oh God!
And people on X, just
Twitter.
They said some of the most like creative insults that I've ever heard in my entire life, and it was so much fun for me.
Do you remember any of those?
So I do remember one that really stuck with me, and it's I have it screenshotted somewhere. It's my favorite one, and it was a list of, it was these 4 people need to die right now.
What?
Negan. And it was like a list of characters. Negan. And it was like a couple other bad guys, and then it was the actor who played the guy with the red umbrella.
Not
it was
the
like
guy with
3 characters.
The actor who played him.
The actor.
The actual guy needs to die. What the
actual human being.
Oh my God. People are
And
rude.
I was like, man, that one's good. You
can't read the comments. You really can't.
There's a Cracked article that had a picture of me and standing in this like, I mean, to be fair, I mean, looking at the picture, like I'm standing in this like really horrible pose, and they're like discussing how the scavengers all just look like meth heads, and it's just a picture of me on Cracked.com, and I'm like, cool, Cracked, that's great. I'm the meth head.
The meth
Wonderful.
head actor.
Yes, I'm a meth head actor.
So we're way ahead of the game right now. Let's go back to high school.
Like back to high school.
All right, dude. So there was the one act play. That was the first thing. First thing that we did together was the one act play, and then I'm scared to talk too much about the people I know because, well, you know.
You never know. You never know. These days, what people want out there on the internet. Back in my day, people wanted everything out there on the internet.
Wild stories.
Back in my day, that people just put everything on social media, and we were just going to sort it out later. But now people started caring about that.
Seriously. But, I mean, it ruins your careers when you're an adult.
Does it?
Not us.
Not us. I'm fine.
No, okay, so it was the one act play, and then summer came, and then was that the year that I worked at the peach stand?
Oh, probably so. You worked at the peach stand. I don't know how long you worked there. I know I worked there one day.
I was like the manager of that thing for a long time because the owner would she trusted me, and she would leave me there, and she'd be like, we had one guy there that she didn't trust with the money, and she was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be there for, most of the day. You're in charge. And so that was fine. And then obviously they wanted to make more money. I don't blame them. And they found some people, I think was in Florida, that ordered peaches. They ordered some peaches. FTP.
Yes. Yes.
We're talking about South Georgia. And was it July still? It was July, right?
Oh, it was hot. Oh,
it was 500 degrees outside. The gnats weren't flying, and you couldn't even drink enough water. We had to drink our own sweat. And then they're like, hey, we need you to help pick peaches because we can't do it fast enough. And do you have any friends? And I was like, hey, Jonathan, you want to make $100? You're like, I'll do anything for $100.
$100 is
$100. Boy. So you came. I went to your house and picked you up, brought you back because you weren't even driving yet. Mm-hmm. And then we picked peaches until we fell down. And then we said I couldn't eat a peach after that for years.
Yeah. But I mean, it really it gives you a lot of perspective about like what people that work in the agriculture industry do.
Absolutely.
Like that is a hard job.
Yeah, man.
That's hard work.
Seriously.
Whew.
Kudos to them.
Whew. Yeah. I don't want to do it. I'm too pretty for that.
Absolutely. Beautiful, man.
But it was $100 for that day. Wasn't too bad. Looking back though,
for sure. Yeah.
I was wore out. But I mean, a little bit of hard work never hurt anybody.
Absolutely. When you're a kid, $100 is a lot of money for one day.
That you might as well be a millionaire.
I earned enough money that year to buy a laptop. Just that summer.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid well. So there was that. I worked at the movie gallery after that, I think.
Man, you had my dream job.
It was fun.
Working at the movie gallery was like legitimately my dream job. But then movie gallery closed down. And they never hired me before they closed down. I would put in an application all the time, and they never would hire me. I had to go into radio.
Did you know what the
I had to go into radio because movie gallery wouldn't.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I used to come hang out with you up there. But did you know?
I would have rather had your job.
Did you know the perks that I got from doing that?
Yeah, you get to watch all the movies. That's why I wanted the job.
Like before they came out, the weekend before they came out, they would come in the mail. So then you could take them home, and as many as you wanted, you could take them home as long as you brought them back before they were supposed to release. It was fine. Or you could get any movie that was, I think it was like 30 days old or older. And I watched every movie they had. I got so good at movies that I would like, people would come in and I knew their personality enough to know like, oh, you won't like that one. You'll probably prefer this one. And it actually, They would come to me eventually and be like, which movie should I get today? It's Friday night. What do I want? And I'd help them find movies. And that was kind of like a human algorithm.
Yeah, you were a regular old Quentin Tarantino over there.
It was fun. Well, you kind of helped me educate me on film too, because you studied it so much. You used to what you liked Quentin Tarantino, you liked Sam Raimi.
Oh God, yeah.
You were the one that.
Oh man.
So I watched The Evil Dead when I was little. And I was like, I should never have seen that. It was an accident. So my grandparents used to they used to rent the movies and had 2 VCRs set up. And so they would like tape every movie that they rented. So they'd have all the movies, and they had like a closet full of movies. Well, on the one with the Goonies on it, which was like my favorite movie when I was 3 or 4 years old, I would watch that movie over and over and over and over again. Well, one day there was no one around to stop it at the end for me. And guess what was next? The Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, because
was it part 2 where the naked body, the headless naked body runs? It was that one.
Yeah, so that's the superior movie, by the way.
Yes.
Like, like looking back, that is definitely
just a remake of the first one with better.
It's
everything.
Well, it's a remake of the first one for the first like 40 minutes.
Yeah,
which is a weird thing to do. It's like let me get you caught up on the first movie by remaking it better.
Yeah.
And then now we're gonna do a sequel.
Now we have a budget. Let's do something better.
Yeah. But that's I hadn't considered that as like a thing that would go away, like people wouldn't know about. But like, yeah, if you had like a VH or a VCR, like you had different quality settings, so you could do the SP, LP, and SLP. So you'd have like 8 or 9, 10 hours sometimes on a VHS tape. So you could just put like multiple movies on one tape.
At least 3 movies.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, you might lose a little quality over time, but
Yeah, they had.
It was the 90s.
Yeah. We used to do that.
Who cared?
So whenever my dad pastored in Americus, Georgia, when I was a kid, it was like an hour drive from our house. So I wanted to watch AFV. And only way to do it was to tape it. So we would tape it, and then that was our DVR.
So there have been so many things that you have said and brought up, little topics in the past 5 minutes that have synergized into a talking point that I have prepared for today, a little surprise that I have for you.
Awesome.
So you were you worked at Movie Gallery. You had my dream job, as I stated, and I mean that sincerely. Movie Gallery was my dream job that I never acquired, and then Movie Gallery went out of business. But you have brought up
quit, and they needed someone to fill the position, and that's how I got it.
Yeah. And then you have brought up illegally copying rental tapes onto a VHS tape, bootlegging, which brings up Bootleg Bill. Bootleg Bill.
Is that really going?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. So Bootleg Bill was like this character that you and I like. It was for you. You were Bootleg Bill in this project that we were doing.
I made Bootleg Bill. Buy me movies.
We never got to make anything of it.
No.
But so a few years ago when we were making The Marks, the movie that I was in, so I was a VHS like store clerk, which was my dream job. It was the job that you had. So as an homage to you, I had the set deck people put your face on an anti-piracy poster in the store. So I have kept the anti-piracy poster. Yeah, it's in there. So I have kept your poster from the set for all these years. So I have it here. Is my camera backwards? My camera might be backwards.
What in the world, dude? That's amazing.
I'll flip my camera somehow.
Oh, it's right for me. It says pirates will never be
cool. Okay, cool.
And neither will piracy. Bootleg Bill says, don't copy VHS tapes. Arr.
So I'm not super duper certain how visible it is. I cannot remember exactly. It's in a shot. It's somewhere.
Well, I mean, you sent it so that I could view it, so we could talk about it, and I'll have to look at it again. I mean, I loved it, by the way.
But yeah, that was a little Easter egg just for you.
Yes.
I like to. There's a few Easter eggs that the set deck person for that film was like super duper cool and always asking for like, hey, does anybody have any ideas? And I just tried to slip in as many of my friends into like the background as possible.
That's
just
awesome.
As like little fun things.
So I kind of want to go back to growing up, but I want to talk about your movie since we brought it up.
No. Yeah, well, we don't have to talk about it right now. I just wanted, you were just talking about bootlegging and all of that, but I felt like that was the
perfect
right time.
All right, I do want to talk about it. I have some nice things to say. Very, very good. But okay, so
good.
So where were we before you took me there? Oh, well, we can talk about Bootleg Bill because that was back in high school.
Yeah, so that was around the same time.
Because we were going to make a Weird Al musical.
Yeah, so I was trying to make a Weird Al fan film.
Yeah. And so the Bootleg Bill idea we came about, and then there was a ninja, and it was nighttime, and it was just around the time that the pawn shop was going to close down. And there was someone in there, and we're like, oh, how funny would it be if Bootleg Bill tries to go into the pawn shop and sell them bootleg movies? So we see the lady in there, and we were totally innocent, polite, quiet, not even being loud. Tapped on the door. She looked up at us and like kind of like waved to go away. So we did. So we started filming our scene where we were designing it for the Back in Black song. So like you open the door, you shut the door to the beat, you step out and all this stuff. Like it was awesome. When you edited it together, it went with the song. It was so cool. And then Nick comes up as a ninja and he's like, I cut you so bad you'll never be cut before, or whatever he said.
I'll cut you so bad you'll wish you've never been cut before.
That's what he said.
I believe was the line. Yes.
But then shortly after that, the cops show up?
Quite a few, quite honestly.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 cars. And then he's like, you can't be filming out here. And we were like, we know our rights. We can film wherever we want in public. And he argued with us. I don't remember why we ended up just conceding, but we did. And I wish we hadn't.
Well, I think it was after the 4th car showed up. Like with the K9 unit, we were like, all right, they get the dog here. We can go home. I'm not getting bit by a dog.
Because those guys totally wanted to arrest some high school guys. That was interesting.
I mean, small town life, sometimes it's a lot of fun and everybody's so interconnected, but there's sometimes the drama can pop up like crazy.
Absolutely.
People just looking for something to do,
Yeah. I mean, how many people are in that town? Like 5,000?
I believe 6,000 is about.
Sounds close.
I think it's actually gone down.
Yeah, a lot of people moved away.
Yeah.
We're 2 of them. But so you ran for mayor.
I did. No, I ran for school board. That's what I ran.
Is that what
I
it
was trying to run for school board.
But it was against the running old man.
Yeah, so there was an old man that was on the school board.
He was an affluent man.
And he would run every day down the same road. It made no sense that he was on the school board, quite frankly, and that's why I decided to run against him, other than the meme of it. And I didn't even know that word at the time. But he was like this geriatric old man with no kids at all.
No.
But he was on the school board. I don't know what his vested interest was, but every day he would just run this 5-mile stretch. And I was like, I'm going to run against
he didn't
this
really
old man.
Run. And I feel bad
but
saying
he
that.
Jogged.
And he didn't even jog.
Yeah.
He kind of hobbled.
Shuffled. Okay.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And so that was the idea, is I'm going to run against him for school board, but I'm also going to literally run against him. Like every day I'm going to race this old man down the road. I'm going to run. And it turns out that there was a provision in local county code that prevented me from running.
For your age?
Even though I was legally allowed to, it was age, yeah.
Oh.
The county had a code, but even though the state said it was fine. Yeah, so nobody even knew. They let me run for about 5 days before they figured out that I couldn't.
Dang. I remember you were going hard for a while there. You were just on it. And I was just like, does he realize they're not going to let him do this? But you did not realize it. And you went for it.
I went for it.
But I loved that.
That's what you got to do.
I loved that about you,
That's
though.
what you got to do. Yeah, I mean, YOLO.
Honestly, though, look at where Ye's at right now. Ye is off his rocker. I think he's off his meds again.
He is, definitely, but
Did they take down the swastika that he posted on X? Did you see it?
I don't know if they took it down.
I woke up yesterday morning and there was a T-shirt of a swastika and he says, "The greatest performance art that I've ever created." I'm like, oh God.
There was another shirt that he had that actually it sold, like it was his #1 selling piece of merch. I cannot remember what it was, but it was another offensive piece of merch.
I mean,
but yeah. But hey, he's making that money.
Art is getting weird. Did you see the
art is getting weird.
What was the $1 million banana is more than that. I can't remember. I'd have to look up how much it costed. Actually, I will.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What was that called?
I do not know what it's called. The banana, the
on the wall
banana.
Art.
Yeah,
on the wall, yeah. I found it. The Comedian. It's called The Comedian. It was done in 2019. And it sold for $6.2 million in November 2024. What in the world? This is not reality. Oh my God. That's insane. People are just,
This is, I say this all the time, and I truly do mean it. This is the weirdest timeline, right? This one in the multiverse is the weirdest one.
Oh, yeah.
Out of all of them, this one's the weird one.
Yeah, we got Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Is she winning the Super Bowl right now, or is it over?
Everyone booed her. The entire stadium booed her.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like the entire stadium. Every person there. She got a thunderous boo.
Wow. I feel bad for her in that. Oh my God, the Eagles are tearing it up. It's 24-0. Poor Taylor. Oh well.
Teardrops on her guitar.
Yeah, I was going to wait to do this in probably like July, but I think I might have to just put this one up for people to watch until I get the next one going, because it's very current right now, isn't it?
It is a little. We kind of dated
it. But yeah, okay. So then there was that scene that we filmed for that. Were there any more Weird Al movie scenes?
We shot a few different things. There was like an ending scene where like I got a hole drilled in my head that and because like the whole plot was all based off of like Weird Al original songs. Right. Was kind of like the idea.
I remember the Melanie song.
So a lot of
you filmed that.
Yeah. Yep.
That was on the street, right?
Yep. And well, we filmed some of it on a street. I think we filmed some of it. There was a drainage ditch outside of Gene Houston's house. Yes. And we filmed something there.
Oh, Gene. He's actually my cousin, dude.
I know, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
That like when you realized that, like back then, it was bananas.
And then he got me into college for free because I could sing. What was it, AC/DC? I was like, that it was better than that, but
yeah, I do not remember.
Relay for Life,
but you
Relay for Life.
Oh man,
bro, that was back whenever people could. What? Careful how I say that. You remember?
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Reverse beauty pageant.
Reverse beauty pageant. That's what it was. I dressed
back
like Britney
when reverse
Spears.
Beauty pageants were not offensive.
Mindy put my makeup on me.
Oh man.
Oh
man. I forgot about this.
That was a wild night. And then we did a comedy set.
We did.
And I sang Crack Baby, Don't Come Back. And
you did.
The kids were up front singing it. And I told the story about the time that...
Who was that? Crack Baby Don't Come Back. That's Tom Green.
Yeah.
Tom Green,
dude,
man.
We were all about Tom Green back then, dude. All right. And then remember I told the story about how...
he's back.
Yeah. I watch him on Insta. He's always posting. But I told that story about the time that I ate too many cheese straws at Christmas and I got constipated. In my
crib. You gotta tell me this story.
My grandmother.
Tell me the story. I do not remember this.
This is why I could never. Well, I think the Crack Baby was the reason why I could never do the stand up again out there. But I was told by the leader of that organization that night that I would never get on the stage again.
Well,
I feel like that's
who would have thought. Who would have thought that the local chapter of the American Cancer Society would be so uptight?
Seriously. No, but yeah. So all right. So it was Christmas the year before that, probably, and my granny used to make all these baked goods and stuff, and so she made like these cheese straws, and I ate a ton of them. And the sausage with like cheese like balls too. That's actually what I ate a bunch of. I probably ate half of it that she made because I was a pig and I was a kid, and it made me constipated.
Man, cheese balls. Whenever I was a kid, cheese balls used to go hard. I don't want to mess with them anymore. But like cheese balls back in the day,
especially with that little bit of spicy sausage in it. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! So yeah, I went to bed and I woke up at about no. I couldn't go to the bathroom. Maybe I woke her up. I had to woke her up because I went to bed and I woke up hurting. My stomach was hurting.
Wait, this is starting to come back to me. Oh yeah,
my stomach was killing me, and I made it sound so dramatic when I was telling it there because you do when you're doing comedy. But so then I like, Granny, what? I can't poop. I can't poop. And I was crying. And then she gives me some Dulcilex or something. I don't know what it was. No, it's probably that. Anyways, well, I go to sleep. And I wake up at 4:00 in the morning and I go crap my brains out. And I described it on the stage like it was the nastiest crap you ever had. And people were dying laughing.
Yeah.
It was a riot.
People enjoyed it.
It was a good show. And then I got told I'd never get on the stage again. Like,
you'll never work in this town again, young man.
As their loss. But honestly,
well, good, because there ain't no more jobs.
That triggered me, dude. That triggered me to make me afraid to like be myself in public like that. And that's why I probably never ended up trying.
If you don't, well, I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say you bombed. It's not even that you bombed. It's just you got canceled. You had a bad experience.
I was the first person to get canceled.
You got first one.
Not really, but I did. I got canceled.
Cancel culture.
I kicked it off. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. I
was, looking back. I don't know if you remember this after the reverse beauty pageant. I was pretty convincing. I was passing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
you were.
And I was walking back to
you're an attractive young lady.
My minivan that I had kind of like parked off.
And
to
that
the
guy
side
tried to hit on you.
Yeah, there was like a whole group of guys that were hitting on me, but that one guy was like really hitting on me, and I was like,
funny.
Let me grab my purse and shuffle to my vehicle, like real quick. I'm like, not even gonna. What am I supposed to respond back? No, no, you just go. You just get out of there.
Small towns are not fun for those kind of situations.
No. What am I supposed to be like? Nah, bro. That. First of all, you don't know if he likes that kind of thing.
Right. That's true. So then later that night, like we stayed up all night, and we kind of got to play DJ and play music. We were trying to keep people awake, so we started playing AC/DC, and I think it was Highway to Hell. I was like, but I was like screaming it, just singing it like fun. And Gene's like, hey, you got a good voice, and you want to audition at Chipola? And I was like, what's that? I didn't have any idea that I could go to college. I didn't, think about it, but he helped me to get into college. And I got started. Did I get my degree associates from there? No, because I don't have a bachelor's yet. So I got started, and I used some of those credits whenever I went back. And I got my associates in psychology. And I kind of started doing my bachelor's, but I let it fall off. And, it's too late now, but I'm doing something else.
I maintain all the time that the best choice I ever made was like dropping out of college before I had any debt.
I wish I had. Oh my God.
Oh man. Whenever I first started getting acting jobs, and I would like have like friends that went and finished their theater degree, and they're like, how can you afford to work as an actor? I can't afford to pay off my student loans. I'm like, well, I didn't take out any.
There you go.
I just decided to just try and act.
I mean, all you got to do is pretend, right?
Right. I've been doing that a long time.
Yeah. Seriously, man. Did we do anything like haunted before? Like real haunted? Like not
do anything what?
Like haunted. Like, did we go to any haunted places? I can't remember that. I feel like we did.
We did. We used to, even though it was definitely illegal.
Do you remember that?
We would go to that graveyard where the eyes. There was a couple. I cannot remember the name of this old rich couple, but they had commissioned full-size replica statues of themselves to be their headstones. Do you remember that place?
Yes, I remember that.
And they were sitting in their rocking chairs, staring straight ahead, blank face, just...
It was creepy.
Real serious and solemn, but the way that their eyes had been carved, no matter which direction you were standing, their eyes were looking at you.
Right. And that was very creepy.
That was the thing, is that you would go there at night and see if you could go there and, they'll look at you if you show up at night. Yeah. They'll look at you if you go at night. In the daytime, it doesn't quite have the same optical illusion.
Yeah.
It has to do with the way, it's because their eye, their cornea is carved in to give it depth.
Yeah.
But it's like the opposite of what you would think. And so when you shine a flashlight at it, it looks strange, and it creates like this optical illusion that during the daytime it's not gonna do.
Right.
But at nighttime, those statues definitely look at you.
Way more creepier.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one time when we were driving down that road? What's the name of that road that goes from Donaldsonville back down towards Oakview Post Church Road?
Post Road.
Post Road. Yeah. So remember we just passed the guy that you ran against his office. And the black thing went across the road,
and that black
ran
thing,
over it, but it didn't hit anything.
Yep. We didn't hit it.
That was a demon.
I don't know. We hit it, but we didn't. It didn't hit. Like, I don't understand it. I've thought about it a lot.
That was a demon.
That
was a demon.
I mean,
it had to be. What else? What else could it have been? It was bigger than a
interdimensional
dog.
shape-shifting vampires.
Totally bigger than a dog.
It was something.
I drove home like 80 miles an hour that night.
It was something. I don't know what it was, but it was something that I.
We had previously been at the Dairy Queen. I would imagine. And can I tell people what you used to do when we went to Dairy Queen?
Why not? Yeah.
So
I'm an open book. I'm Jonathan for reals.
It is for real. So Dairy Queen was like on the big major highway 84, right? And then
US Highway 84.
Yeah. So on Sunday nights, all of us from the youth group would go out to the Dairy Queen, and we would like hang out at the picnic tables out front if it was summertime. And Jonathan liked to go lay in the highway and put his leg over his head and flop around like a dead fish in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Like I'd been injured and horribly maimed. And, see if any cars would stop.
We were totally scared that you were going to die. Everybody was afraid you were going to die.
Yeah. But it made things interesting.
It sure did.
What else are you going to do? It's not like we had cell phones to sit around on our Facebook and scroll around and get addicted to the dopamine. Like,
right. we actually had fun.
We had to make our fun. We had fun.
We would go to the lake. There was that one time that you had the cabin for like a summer. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. We were filming
another horror movie.
We were trying to film another horror movie.
We couldn't get anybody to be in it.
We couldn't get people to show up. That was the problem.
Yeah.
We had a good cast. We had a good script. We had a good plot, good cast. The people were talented. They were all like theater kids from the area. And I want to brag on our hometown. I mean, it's not really your hometown, but it's like
I call it my hometown.
Your hometown.
Yes, this is the only place that I ever felt like I fit in with anybody.
Yeah. And we had like a lot of it had to do with people like Gene Houston, who was
a phenomenal
the
drama and music teacher.
And he cared so much about like what he did and doing a good job and teaching people to do a good job. So I think he played a massive part in that. But there was
to him to dealing with
much
us
talent.
because we were a bunch of jerks. We goofed off and acted like idiots every single chance we got. Not one of us was serious.
To be fair, you're right. But I feel like I was always very serious about I was going to make movies. I was definitely
Like when it wasn't time to be acting, we were not serious and we were up to some shenanigans. Like when we were at the theater downtown, if we were backstage, we were goofing off.
We were goofing off, but we were always like trying to come up with our own thing.
That's what it was.
What I mean? Like we were working if we were working on a play, we were trying to figure out how to use the space when the play was over to do a haunted house or something.
Right.
We were trying to
that happened.
Whatever. And that happened. Yeah.
Well, the Rocky Horror Picture Show happened there.
Right.
That was fun.
Right. That was a lot of fun. It was kind of like one of those things where all of our friends, we all kind of got into Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we were like, you know what? We could rent the theater uptown for $150. I bet we could sell 15 tickets for $10. That makes our money back.
Right.
We could do Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And we did more than that. I think, wasn't it full?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was a pretty good full. I mean, I think it was about 60 folks.
When I got off the stage and went to the back because my part was over, I went and sat in the back. Like I remember sitting in like the last 2 or 3 rows of the theater, and there were people all the way to the back.
Yeah, there's like 60 folks on a midnight in a small town in Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good, I feel.
Pretty awesome. And then, so that wasn't the only thing that we rented. We did the movie stock, which I made your graphics. Man. At the time I was doing graphics.
You did? Oh, man.
And then you were like, I want some bands.
I was trying to fund a movie. I realized that was the problem.
Yes.
The problem was we didn't have any money. That was the problem. We couldn't get anybody to show up because we didn't have any money. Maybe if we had some money. So how are we going to solve this? Let's throw a concert.
You were like, give me some bands because I do a bunch of bands. And I was like, all right, we'll get some bands. And we got too many bands. The concert lasted until 2 in the morning.
Okay, and actually, we did it twice. That's the thing is we did it twice. We did it once, and there weren't enough bands. And we were like, we got to do this again. Let's get it another month. Yeah. A couple months later, we did it again. We got way too many bands.
There was 10 bands, but some of them were good. Man. That The War Within, they changed their name to something else later, but they were very good for some little boys because they were like barely out of middle school, and they could rock. They played for many years after that and actually got a little legit, almost signed. They got a legit EP out. I still listen to it. It's on Apple Music now. And then there was Save the Ship. And
oh man, Save the Ship.
They were just amazing.
Everybody, Pat.
Yes.
Pat though was one of my favorite human beings.
The Cries of. That was his artist name.
Yeah, The Cries of, yeah.
And he did not know how to do any of what he did. He just felt it. Like he told me, he's like, I don't know any of these chords by name. It just sounds good to me. But it was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, man. What an amazing, like, beautiful, like, spirit. Oh, man, I haven't talked to Pat in a few years. I've
tried to find him. I can't find him.
I've got his contact info somewhere.
All right, we'll have to...
he became an author.
Oh, man.
He got out of music. He
was a machinist back then.
He said that he felt he went out on tour full time.
That's amazing.
He went and was doing the Cries of like every day, touring the country, and that was his thing.
Wow.
And he built this really cool church van.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell his story.
Maybe you can connect me with him and we can get him on the show.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But he became an author.
Yeah.
He got out of music. He felt like he got a little bit too old to be, a traveling musician, and he was passionate about writing.
In his 30s back then, wasn't he? He was a little older than the rest of the band. That makes sense. So that brings me to another. So like we used to go see a lot of bands. Remember whenever we went to Camilla, and I had found this band called Bailey Drive, which they later turned out to be Chasing Victory, which went on national tours, and they toured with a whole lot of huge bands like Under Oath and other bands like that. I don't know if they ever toured with Under Oath, but like the Showdown for sure. I don't know. Were you with me whenever we went to go see them at Big Daddy's?
No, I did not. I don't think I've ever been to Big Daddy's.
Okay.
Wait, no, I have been to Big Daddy's once, but yeah.
Maylene and the Sons of Disaster's guitar player, he was filling in for their guitar player. He fell on top of me during that show. So I got up on the side of the stage, and then one of the guys from the Showdown knocked me into one of those heat sink things and left me a good scratch on my back that I still have today. It was fun. It was awesome. I went for the Showdown and Chasing Victory. I was friends with the Chasing Victory. But so the first time we saw them, they were Bailey Drive. And I was like, dude, I'm going to Camilla to this show. This band's really cool. I want to see them. I don't know about this other band that's playing. Back then it was called When Tomorrow Doesn't Come. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When Tomorrow Remember them? Do you remember how we felt the first time we heard? I'd never heard that before in my life. Have you ever heard that before that day? They were like,
nope.
All that pig squeal. I can't pig squeal. To me. I can't pig squeal, but that's like my best pig squeal. Well, Dean's actually going to be on the show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's agreed to come on the show. So that was Dean Atkinson, and he's a phenomenal guy. He is such a nice guy. But he was in that band, and then they developed another band and called it With Blood Comes Cleansing, and that was a death metal band too. It was much more polished, but it was still a raw and ruckus. But do you remember how we reacted? Do you remember what we did whenever we were standing there?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not remember exactly.
Every time he would squeal, we would like pop our butt and act like we were screaming like a baby.
like go pantomiming along with him. That's
yes.
Funny. Oh man, that's
and the
funny.
Craziest part of this whole thing is I told Rebecca, my wife, about this recently, and she's like, "You got to be kidding me!" I was like, "What?" She's like, "I was at that show too, but I was outside, and we didn't meet each other because she did. She went to the
world's small.
Yeah, she went to the church with that youth pastor." Like that was her youth pastor, and he told her, "Come on, you should come," because he was trying to connect her with the kids there, and she wasn't into it. She was kind of scared. Obviously, those guys were like running around, swinging their arms in that tiny little room. I had never been a part of a mosh pit before that.
I remember the first time you got punched in the face and you were not having it. You were not having it. You were very upset about it.
Man,
I got hit in the face, man.
So what is this crap? Let's go home. Let's go home. But then at the end of it, I ended up buying their EP for $2, and we listened to it on the way home. That was fun.
Oh yeah,
that was a lot of fun. And then what other concerts did we go to together, like with bands like that? Did you go to any of the other ones with me?
I don't know that I did.
Did you ever go to Columbus with me?
I don't think so. No. Yeah.
I went there a couple times. I know that Rebecca went with me after we met. And so I met her at a show like that because Dean was playing, and her sister couldn't go with her boyfriend if she didn't come too. And that's how we met, and we fell in love, and we've been together ever since. But she didn't like that kind of music. But then because of me, she decided she did like it. And then she started listening to it and acquired a taste. And now she prefers that kind of music, and it's funny.
It's just, I mean, I'm just going back to like the whole thought of like, you were so close to meeting.
Yeah.
You know, like so close, and you didn't, but like you were so close. And that's just crazy to me. But that kind of stuff happens all the time. I mean, like with my wife and myself, I was talking about how, okay, so I had like this family history book. Okay. And it was a long, boring story of like this weird person in our family who's super obsessed with family history, but it's kind of like a hustle. That she's always like trying to like get other people in the family to give her money for family research. Anyway, I get this weird packet of family history, and I've been like going through it one day, and I find this like ghost story, and I'm like reading it. And to Cricket, but it's like a family history, like ghost story kind of situation, and so like the story goes that back in the 1800s there was like a member of my family that paid, his wife had like a complicated pregnancy, and he paid someone to fight in the Civil War in his stead, so he could be with his wife. But everyone in town did not know that he had made an arrangement, so they thought he was a deserter, so they just strung him up.
Oh my God.
So that there's like this ghost story that's like a local legend from where my wife grew up. And her dad used to tell her the story, and would write down from where we live now, maybe a mile down the road. They would go camping in this little campsite, and we were passing one day. It's like my dad and I used to go camping there. And then she's like, yeah, that's where he would tell me this story all the time. And she's like, there's no way that's you. And I'm like, that's my family. Everything in the world is so interconnected.
Yes, it is.
We're all so interconnected with one another.
Yes, we are.
And people
don't even understand how connected we are. Like,
and some people are very disconnected from other people, and that's not
it's not a good place to be in. I mean, you're not healthy when you're like that. It's weird. I feel like we're kind of going on a little spiritual talk here, but that is what God is. God is the source of everything. and we are the image of God, and our creativity comes from God, and that's why we're connected.
Well, see, I've my spiritual journey is much different than yours. I'm sure, because everybody's is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we started out in a very similar place. I don't like to throw around, like, I mean, I guess God is like a term that you could apply to things, but like, I feel like the if a higher creator power is so unfathomable to a human brain that even deifying it would be simplistic and reductionist and putting it in a human term. So I don't even like to apply human terms to something that we truly can't understand, but we scientifically can prove exist.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look
Some
at
people are calling it a
physics,
simulation, but it can't be a simulation. It's a living, organic God. That's why I call it God.
Quantum physics it definitely has proven a lot of things that if you can step away from dogma and actually apply the thoughts and the concepts that exist and that are trying to be conveyed to you
right.
in words that have been translated and changed and humanized
for sure
over centuries. They're trying to get across an idea to you. It's impossible.
It's impossible to fathom.
But,
yes.
It's impossible to fathom. But if you apply real science, like, so you were talking about like that thing that we saw that night,
right?
You said demon. I wouldn't necessarily go that far because
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, but yeah. No, I get what you're. I know. I want to go down this weird rabbit hole. This is fun for me.
Okay.
If you look at quantum physics, like we're right now, like this is third dimensional.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in a big old pile of fourth dimensional time.
Oh yeah.
Right now, and time is a physical property, and a lot of people don't know that just because they don't teach you that in school because it's a hard concept to teach.
Yeah.
It's.
I don't think they even knew it when we were in school. Really, this is kind of new stuff.
They did
to a degree.
They did, but they hadn't figured out a way to like really convey it. And yeah, but there's a lot of experiments that you can actually show the physical manifestation of time, like the actual element of time. You can physically see it in a couple different experiments, and that's because it's a fourth dimensional object and we're sitting in it, and we can see that because it's very close to us. We're third dimensional, and through weird situations we can kind of see it. What we can't really see but we can trace is the fifth dimension. And we know we can trace it through electromagnetic energy, and electromagnetic energy is what people use to go on ghost hunting and
right.
Oh, there's a negative spirit. There's something in the fifth dimension that is there.
Yeah.
But we don't quite have full access to
it.
Now, but the fifth dimension's a higher dimension. They have access to us.
Oh yeah.
We just don't have access to
all right,
them.
Stop there. I was just talking to Rebecca about this. She had not seen this yet. And the other night, probably like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I was like, I want you to watch Inception with me. And then at the end of that movie, whenever he's like trying to scream out to Murphy, and like she thinks it's a ghost in the beginning, right? And it's him in this dimension, and he's like saving the world. So like I was like, okay, so what if ghosts aren't really ghosts, but like it's like that. It's like we're crossing dimensions and they think we're ghosts, and we think they're ghosts, but neither one of us are ghosts. What if it's something like that in the time?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some sort of something like that. But I also this is where I love. This is where it gets creepy.
Okay.
Now the fifth dimension, you have to be humans, us third dimensional people, some of us are bad and some of us are good.
Right.
That would apply to any dimension.
Some of them are going to be bad and
that
some
exists. Some of them are good,
obviously.
and some of them are good.
Yeah.
And if you have access to the higher realms of reality, you would absolutely be able to appear to someone in a certain way.
Yeah.
You'd be able to manipulate their perception.
We can do that to ants if we wanted to.
Right.
They don't know what we are.
Right. Exactly. So I would say I personally do not believe in ghosts.
Right.
I do not think that you get, but I think there could be, I do think there could be entities that, of some type that maybe there's like a fifth dimensional entity that is like, man, this person down here in the third dimension is really struggling right now.
Yeah.
I know how close they were to this person.
Okay.
Maybe the best way for me to get this information to them is to appear to them in a way that they would receive that information.
Okay.
Because if I show up in my form, they're gonna freak out.
True.
And I think that's could be a situation. Maybe there's ghost. I personally don't want to believe that there's a possibility that I get through a glitch in the system stuck on top of this multiverse. I mean, bouncing from one to the other, that's a whole different thing. But, you know, I don't want to get stuck on it.
No. Oh, I get you. I get you.
What do you think about the Mandela effect? Because I feel like this is absolutely tied in to the same thing.
If it's real, then it would have to be slipping timelines.
So I personally do believe that I have slipped through the timeline.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, I don't know exactly where, and I don't think you really would. I think it'd be one of those things you wake up one morning and you go about in your life, you start living your life, and then there's just things that are off.
Yeah.
And where I started to notice it.
Well, for me, I'm gonna cut you off a little bit, but for me, like, I don't know how I feel about it, but like I have toyed with the idea, like, and now I guess I'm talking about it publicly, so hopefully people don't think that I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm just playing around with ideas, but I have toyed with the idea, and it's because like at some point recently, my life flipped into a positive type of dimension, and for me, it's God, but I understand that God is the source of everything and is in everything, and whenever you surrender to that and just accept that God owns everything and is everything and has everything, and nothing can even touch you if you don't let it, because you can just do whatever you want to do and make any choice you want to make. And it's okay because you have that freedom. Something clicked in me and it felt like I shifted to another timeline.
So there's so many ways this conversation can go. But I think that this kind of goes to that quantum physics, again, has proven. And
they're messing with CERN, and there's also in Oakwood, or is it Oakwood, or I think it's Oakwood, Tennessee. They're doing another one here too, right next to me somewhere over near Knoxville. There's a particle accelerator there. Whenever that stuff turned on, things changed.
Just like your life, though, you can do anything you want to in life. You really can. But there's some things you shouldn't do, like hurt people.
Oh, definitely.
Hurt people, take other people's stuff. Like, those are bad
Absolutely.
things. And like, if you go down that path, like you might see positive benefits in your life, but that's evil. You're not really going to. Yeah, you're going to have negative impacts as well.
Yeah.
But I know that's not where you're going with it. But quantum physics has kind of addressed this as well, because you have experiments like the split particle, or the the slit particle experiment, where you have the unobserved and the observed.
Mm-hmm.
You always have two choices. There's always a binary, like ones and zeros. There's either a this path or this path, and that applies to your life. There's a good choice or a bad choice, and sometimes your good choice might negatively affect somebody else.
Yeah.
But maybe they're in a position where that negativity is going to teach them a lesson that they needed to learn, and it's going to have a positive outcome.
Sure.
Or maybe, like, there's so many things that you cannot fathom.
Right.
But you do have to be conscious of your choices. You shouldn't let your, like, anxiety of, like, am I, like every bit of anxiety, like, rule your life. Sure, but you should be conscious of your choices. Like, how is this impacting other people? Could there be negative consequences to my actions?
For sure.
And sometimes, like, it's very, like, innocuous things, and you don't even think about, like, this is impacting somebody else, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it, yeah. But anyway, got off on a tangent off of, yeah.
Where were we last?
I don't know.
So we were.
Oh, but no, I asked you about the Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like where I started noticing that I might be in, like, things were weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was my mom was still alive. So it was quite a long time ago. And she called me to ask me if I was watching Billy Graham's funeral. And I was like, no, I'm not watching Billy Graham's funeral.
Did he die yet then?
That's the thing. So Billy Graham, there's a large number of people.
Yeah.
That and in the same time period that I have this memory, there's a large number of people that distinctively remember watching Billy Graham's funeral. And I do not think he is dead. He was not dead for quite some time, but if so, it was a huge Mandela effect.
Recently passed away.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah.
Very recently. Yes.
Let me look this up. I'm going to Google this.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a very, very popular Mandela effect. But that's where it started with me. I've never been really, like... I feel like the Berenstain Bears thing is kind of like one of those mispronunciation possibilities.
Yeah. He died in 2018.
That one never got me.
Billy Graham died in 2018.
Yeah, so... Yeah. My my parents have been dead long before Billy Graham.
Yeah.
And I had my mom call me up, like, solemn and upset, to ask me if I was watching his funeral. I remember where I was. I was sitting at my computer editing an episode of my YouTube series.
Now that you say that, I feel like there have been several actors that were recently, within the past 5 to 6 years, that were pronounced dead. I was like, weren't they dead already?
Well, yeah. So the explanation that people give is that human brains are susceptible to misremembering things and having bad memory. That's what they say. But that time period for me, I don't know. It just, like, my things started going in a strange direction.
Right.
For me, right after that. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was thinking to myself around that same time period, like, I kind of, like, had, like, this weird panic attack.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I didn't know why.
Do you remember what year that would have been?
This would have been 2010 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had, like, this weird panic attack because I felt like something was off with, like, my parents, and something was going to go down. And then they both had cancer and died.
Yeah.
But, like, my mom kept hers kind of secret. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that she was dying until she went. But And Dad was like, it was a side effect of his cancer medication that killed him.
Oh my
which
God.
is a crazy way to die.
That's
like, oh,
medicine. Oh my God.
yeah. But that happening was such a negative moment in my life.
Yeah.
But I was not in a, before that, I wasn't in a super great place, and I wasn't really focused anymore on pursuing my dreams.
Right.
I was just like, go to work this job you don't really like, but you like the people you work with, and you whatever,
Yeah.
you know. And I wasn't happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then all of that happened, and it hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, life is short.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, you should probably be pursuing your dreams.
Yes.
So then I did. And so it had a positive impact on
Yeah.
me. So it's like, I think that might have been the time I slipped into the weird timeline. You know, like, before that, I was just a weird kid in the normal timeline.
That's when you became yourself. You know what I mean? That's when you became yourself.
Yeah. I became Jonathan.
Yeah.
For reals.
For real. Yeah. No, I like that. I'm sorry that all that happened like that, though.
I mean, no, we don't have to get super negative, but it was always a wild.
It's not negative. I'm just saying.
It was a wild time.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
My heart. You know, I love you. That's all.
I feel you.
Yeah. So I feel like we don't need to talk about high school right now anymore, but let's go into your acting career a little bit.
Sure.
Talk about that for me. Where did you go from there?
Talk about it.
Where did you go from there?
So that was when I started reflecting on what
Acting came before politics, right?
Not quite. So all right. So there's so many things. Like, so
You've done it all.
I'm very multifaceted. I don't really like stick in one thing, which maybe is my problem. Maybe it's the ADHD. But I mean, I enjoy doing a lot of things, and I do feel like they're all
autism.
Connected, you know?
That's what it is.
It's the artism.
The artism. We both have that.
Yeah, and so I started like really reflecting. So I had dived into a little bit of politics right before my parents passed away.
Sure.
And that was kind of like one of those weird situations where there was something happening in our hometown, and I felt like it was messed up. And I was like, well, nobody around here is going to do anything about it. And so I just decided, well, if nobody will do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately they died during my campaign, so I backed out.
Yeah.
So that was a major regret for me for a long time. And
you didn't run for superintendent, did you?
I ran for our state house seat.
Okay.
Because they gave us a new state house seat for Seminole and Miller County.
Okay.
But the way that the state of Georgia did it, they drew this weird strip down a road all the way through another county into Albany, and then circled this one rich guy's house so that way he could be. So that
you
way
paid
he could
somebody
be
to do that.
And I didn't like it, and
nobody
in town liked it. Nobody in town liked it, and nobody would do anything about it. Nobody would run, and I was like, well, if no one will do it, I'll do it.
That is the most Weird Al thing you ever did.
And yeah. Do what?
That is the most Weird Al thing you ever, like, if you were going to pay homage to him, just taking that approach to anything.
I'll do it. If nobody will do it, I'll do it. But but anyway, but after that, I did really decide to focus on acting. Yeah. And
you got good at it.
Always
you got good at it.
I always wanted to make my own film. I always wanted to direct something, and that was always my goal.
Right.
And that was when I reached out to Emo.
Sure.
And asked him about perhaps going on the road with him.
And there were a lot of stars in that one.
That was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I met Like everybody I ever thought was cool.
Who's that redheaded guy in the room with all the vinyl records? I know him, but I can't remember his name.
Andy Daly.
Yes.
Andy Daly.
He is freaking hilarious.
Oh, man.
Dude, how did you get these people?
He's so good. He's so good, and we have so much footage of Andy.
Yeah.
We could have released an hour-long improv stand-up special of like me, Emo, and Andy together because we filmed so much, and we were like, well, we have to cut it down to like 3 minutes. We had an hour.
Yeah.
But so he's legitimately. So I don't.
Is Emo still?
Who knows if anyone will ever see this film?
Is Emo still with us?
But Emo is still with us.
Okay. Just curious.
Who knows if anyone will ever see Stalking Emo? There's been some problems with getting it released for many, many years.
I've been wondering
the movie's been done
where
for many,
it is.
many years.
Yeah.
It's very good.
There is actually a scene with
you.
you and your childhood hero talking to each other.
Multiple scenes.
And you absolutely insult him in the one I saw, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. And it's a lot of. I think it's a lot of fun. But
didn't you hunt him down from concert to concert, like Valdosta, Georgia, until you actually got in touch with him to give him like, "Hey, I want to work with you"? Is that how you got to him?
No.
You tried to do that.
I knew Emo. I've known Emo since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to
And
me. Like Emo,
through the internet or what?
I bought an Emo. No, I bought an Emo Phillips record because I knew him from the credits of UHF.
Right.
And I saw his vinyl.
That movie was
He
good.
didn't have a CD at the time. There was no CD. Emo had fallen off the face. Emo wasn't famous anymore.
Yeah.
And
I do not understand why.
I found his vinyl. I know. I have made an entire movie about it.
His style of comedy is just the best.
He's every comedian will tell you he's well, maybe not now. There's a lot of new people that don't know him, but a lot of people still to this day that are big comics will tell you when it comes to writing a joke, pure joke writing, Emo Phillips is the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
His style's not for everyone. He's a little weird, but he was my favorite. I found him on a vinyl, and I became obsessed. He was my favorite stand-up. Weird Al's was my idol for many years, but Emo was always my favorite stand-up.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that I really don't even know how I met Emo, but we met through when I was trying to do comedy, and it didn't work out. But Emo and I became friends.
Yeah,
and
maybe he saw some of himself in you because he is a little quirky.
Yeah, I mean. That was a lot of people. A lot of people have said that over the years. So that was I filmed Stalking Emo. That was a huge project for me. We shot, I cannot remember how many hundreds of hours of footage. I traveled, tens of thousands of miles.
Yeah.
Around the country. I went to, I think, 52 cities or something like that. 52 shows during the course of the filming. Met pretty much like every cool person I ever wanted to meet.
Yeah.
And
like who?
I mean, like Weird Al.
Yeah.
That was the coolest one. That was
of course.
So. I don't know if I can tell this story. That's what I'm trying to figure out if I can tell.
Okay.
All right.
Tell it.
I will tell it. I'm going to tell it.
If it's something you can't tell, we'll take it out.
No, I think I can tell this story. I think this story's fine.
Okay.
So we were filming, and we were in LA, and we were getting ready to head back to Atlanta.
Okay.
And Emo was going to go on vacation. And he was going to go whale watching in Washington State.
That reminds me of that one song on that little compilation you gave me, the Beluga.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Beluga.
That was a funny song.
Oh, man.
Dead puppies. Oh, real quick, before we continue, back to the peach stem. Remember that one song?
Who put it on the snowman?
On the snowman. It looked just like me. And then Uncle Sam, I let him hear that song one day. He said, he fell over on the ground laughing.
And every time we would see him,
he'd say, Who put it on him?
Who put it on him? Who put it on him?
Oh, the good times.
Who put it on him?
Continue.
So Emo is going to go on vacation, and we're getting ready to head back. So this is right after we'd filmed with Andy Daly out in LA. Okay. We had just gotten done filming with Judy Tenuta, Steve Odenkirk, Bob Odenkirk.
Bob,
not
is he
Steve,
the one that had the funny videos with the hand thing, like the superhero and the? That's
Steve.
Oh, okay.
That's Steve. That's Thumb Wars. That's
Thumb
Steve.
Wars,
That would have been amazing.
Yes.
That would have been amazing. But Bob was Better Call Saul.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He wanted to be in Stalking Emo, but we couldn't get him. That we were trying, we were trying to work it out with his shooting schedule.
Yeah.
Like we had a bunch of people that were all like back to back, and we were shooting all this stuff in LA, and we just got wrapped, and we were just totally exhausted and getting ready to head back to the south where we belong.
The dirty south.
And Emo calls because he's going on vacation, and he goes, Hey, do you I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go. Maybe you wanted to go to Washington.
He took you with him?
I was like, well, he's like, I have a private event. I have a private show for there's an animal shelter. And so it was like this fundraiser. Mm-hmm. And so Emo gets us to come up to Washington with him. We just drive up through the California desert instead of going home and go to this weird island off the coast of Washington. San Juan Island, Washington. And it is above the Canadian border.
Right.
And it is hit with a constant warm current, ocean current, from one side that comes across the top, and it hits the mountain, and it reflects the air back cold, and it constantly keeps the island at just a very reasonable, perfect temperature.
Okay.
Very conducive for growing their cash crop, lavender. And it's this tiny little 3-mile island where they just grow lavender, and everything smells wonderful. Bet. And there's no bridge there. You have to take a boat. And so Emo was doing a show for their animal shelter. Okay. And everybody who lives there is rich.
Oh, yeah.
You should need to be very clear here.
Yeah.
And so Emo's like, you might be able to get some good footage if you just come out to the show. Come out. So Emo takes us whale watching. And
what is whale watching? Explain what is whale watching, because I can't understand this without knowing.
I can't. It was the dumbest thing.
What did you do?
The dumbest thing. We just got in a boat and we took a ride for a few hours and hoped for the best.
Never saw a whale.
Never saw a whale. We did see some other animals that were out there. I got sunburned. Dude, for no reason.
I lived in Savannah, Georgia before I moved where I live now, and you just walk down the river walk and stand next to the river and you see dolphins. And you went whale watching and didn't see a whale.
I went whale watching.
I swear to God.
I didn't even see a whale.
I swear to God. You need your money back for that.
So going whale watching, that was a very surreal experience though, because it was Emo.
Right.
And myself.
That's worth it. It's worth it.
He's my one of my childhood heroes, but he's invited his friends that were on the comedy show from the night before. and his friends from the comedy show from the night before. I'm not gonna name names just because I don't want to like throw
then
around
you
names.
have to tell me
because,
afterwards.
I am gonna name one name because there's one person that I think is fine with me telling this story, so I'm gonna name that
there's
one.
There's
name.
no such thing as name dropping on a podcast. Just say it.
And so, well, this person's kind of weird about her name being thrown around. You can dig enough around. You can dig enough.
It's a blonde-headed woman.
So
in the movie,
it is a. Huh?
Is it the blonde-headed woman in your movie? Did I know who it is already?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
So it is. It's his friend is. Was Andy Kaufman's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
And her husband is the manager who managed the Doors.
Oh, wow.
And the night before at the comedy show, we wrap and we're talking to Wendy Liebman.
Okay.
And if you don't know Wendy Liebman and you like Emo Phillips, and you don't know who Wendy Liebman is, you absolutely need to look her up.
I almost said I'm going to write this down, but I could just watch it later.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Yeah. A lot of people draw parallels, and which was why Emo kind of wanted us to make sure we were there to talk with her and get something with her. But a lot of people have drawn parallels with her for years, and Emo for years, but it's because she's a good joke writer.
Sure.
And so she was so much fun, brought so much like to the table. Like you're interviewing her about emo and having her gush, but like she's a comic and she's got to she understood the assignment. Like
yes.
I'm still being funny here. I'm not just in a documentary. We're being weird.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a rubber chicken in my face.
It's a mockumentary.
You know?
Play along to
and
it.
Wendy was so much fun. And when we get done, she goes, this is quite a few years ago. And marijuana had just become legal in Washington State. And Wendy wanted to capitalize on that. So she's like, hey, she's like looking around. So she's asking me and the camera guy, and she's like, hey, I gave a guy $60 when I got here and asked him to get me $60 worth of weed. And I didn't realize how much that bought in a legal state. And I have so
like 4 months worth
much.
Or something.
And I fly out in the morning and I don't know what to do with this. Do either of you want it? And I'm like, I don't want it, Wendy. And then my camera guy's like, I'll take it. And so she's like, thank you so much. You're such a lifesaver.
Oh my God.
And so the next day we go whale watching with Andy Kaufman's ex-girlfriend and the manager of the Doors and Emo Phillips. And we don't see a whale at all. And I'm just like, oh, I saw a bald eagle. I was happy
That's
about
pretty cool,
that.
though.
It was cool. He was carrying a boulder, which was wild. I've got some footage of it somewhere. I was like
was the real American playing while it happened?
It was. It absolutely it kicked on.
It came out of God's mouth.
Hulk Hogan popped up out of nowhere. So I'm sitting there. We're kind of like pulling back into the port, the harbor, and Emo's like, "Oh hey, Wendy left, and she came to my room and left a giant bag of weed." And I was like, oh. And I'm like, because he's like telling me about it like it's mine. And I'm like, oh. He's like, she said it was yours. Do you want it? And I'm like, it's not mine, but and he's like, okay, I'll go get it. And then,
oh my God.
So he goes on this like mission and comes back through this like beautiful hotel lobby, carrying the largest bag of weed.
Oh my God.
He has taken his sailor hat that he had been wearing on the boat, his fisherman's cap, I mean, that he'd been wearing while whale watching.
I feel like he would wear one of those.
I gave him a bag to put it in so it would be non-visible. Yeah. But he had that.
But unless it was all sealed up, you'd probably smell it from a mile away.
He had and then a giant Ziploc bag, so a hat and then a bag, and he was using those as like oven mitts to shuffle through the lobby of this fancy hotel on this island of rich people. And it's just like, here it is! Like, just like... And I'm like, thanks, Wendy Liebman. So, that was the time.
All right. That was amazing. I'm glad we heard that story.
And I'm definitely gonna tell you that the cameraman did decide to sell that, flip that, and put that money back into the budget of the film.
Well, that's
resourceful. It was resourceful. Yeah. It was a good thought. It was a good call. He didn't tell me that's what he was gonna do. He didn't tell me that's what he was gonna do at the time, but he did.
Good job. Yeah. So then you were on *Halt and Catch Fire* at one point.
*Halt and Catch Fire*. That was
a fire show, dude.
First. Oh God, man!
I freaking loved it. Why did it only two seasons? Right? 3,
4.
Was it 4? I just remember it was too short,
seasons.
And I was like mad when they canceled it.
I would say it's an underrated show, underrated. But that's not true because everybody loved it that watched it, and all the ratings were perfect. The problem was there were not enough people that watched it.
Dude,
it was so good.
Did you quit smoking after that?
Oh man, that was. Oh man,
dude, you smoked that cigarette so hard. Okay.
So when I got,
you were like trying to get that cigarette to give you crack money.
How do I tell this? Like, this is such a bizarre. All right, so when you smoke cigarettes on a film, typically they are fake.
That wasn't. There was so much smoke around your face.
They're fake. They're real. You smoke them, but they're filled with rose petals.
So you're not smoking the tobacco and the nicotine and stuff that's going to make you addicted. Right. That makes sense.
You're smoking rose petals. And so I did *Halt and Catch Fire*, and when I first got there, they had a series of weird auditions, like asking people what they were like comfortable doing.
Like what kind of things?
And it was all like who's comfortable smoking a fake cigarette?
Okay, so no butt stuff.
Who's comfortable smoking fake weed? Who's comfortable, because you're going to be smoking like a herbal supplement, like substitute. It's not a real thing. Like when you see somebody snorting coke in a movie, they're snorting baby formula.
Ouch.
Yeah, and you got to ask the actor, are you comfortable doing that?
Right, because that's going to hurt.
You got to know that. Right.
Yeah.
So I got asked, are you comfortable smoking fake cigarettes? And they were like, I was like, yeah. And they're like, great, that's your thing.
Do you remember when we were kids, the fake cigarettes were like these little things and like you just like you blew in them and then they would like get red and then like some stuff would come out of the powder. That's probably what you thought it was.
No, I didn't. I knew.
You knew.
I was informed of what I was doing.
Okay, so they didn't just say fake cigarettes. They told you what it was.
I really enjoyed that because it was a lot of fun. Like anytime there was a smoke-filled 80s office, so they always needed an excuse for it to be smoke-filled. It was really an 80s which meant I dream. Got to be in everything. Absolutely. I got to, you know, so I'm just there to everything. And
you looked cool doing it.
It was a lot of fun. And so, but that's what got me on The Walking Dead.
Okay, because it's AMC.
And it was AMC, and it was the same casting director.
Oh, cool.
And so the show was wrapping,
and they were like, "Will you smoke a red umbrella?"
we all were kind of, we didn't know if there's a scene in season 3 where the mutiny staff finds out that they're losing their jobs, and that was everybody's last day at work. The emotions that on everybody's face when we lose our job is the day we lost our job.
Oh my God.
And
so realistic.
Yeah, and so, but it was up in the air.
Was that show supposed to be about Apple and Microsoft?
A little bit. It was kind of, there was a few different inspirations that they were kind of merging together.
It was really cool. Anyways, okay, keep going.
Video game companies in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And then
those
the
video
90s.
Games.
Season 4 makes it to the 90s.
That was the internet.
And that was
like the birth of the internet, yeah? Yeah. That's what it was about. Yeah. It's been a long time since I watched that.
So then season 3 was wrapping, and the writers didn't know if they were going to write in some of the coders to move into the 90s. And there were like meetings of like who looks like they can still be in the 90s. Who's going to have like a look. And like I was still on the plate of maybe still having a job.
Okay.
But there was at the same time,
if you got like the short hair and not the long mullet, and then you had the little mustache, dude, you totally were 90s.
Oh yeah, and
you almost could look like Al Bundy.
Almost. And so Cooper Andrews was on *Halt and Catch Fire*. He moved on to *Walking Dead* to play Jerry, and Jerry got the call first that he was going to *Walking Dead*, and everybody kind of knew it, but Cooper wasn't saying it, but everybody knew, and everybody. We started kind of taking that as like oh man, well, Cooper's been around for a long time. If Cooper's not coming back for season 4, I don't think any of us are. No. And then that's that's another character that was on the show. Fat Joey from Walking Dead was also on *Halt and Catch Fire* originally.
Fat Joey,
and he got the call. And then
is he the guy that's interviewing you in that one YouTube video that I watched that you said shouldn't be on here?
No, that is Sam Lazarus, also *Halt and Catch Fire* alum.
He was on that.
From season 2. He's from season 2. Sam's got a wild IMDb. Sam is an interesting fella. You should have him on.
Okay,
you should have Sam.
I don't know
on.
anything about him, but I might.
He's a lot of fun. Okay. He's a strange bird, but he's a lot of fun.
I'm all about having fun. This is supposed to be an informational, educational, and comedy show, so we're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he'll tell you everything you need to know about being an actor out in L.A. He moved out of Atlanta. He realized that in Atlanta there was because it's the South, there was a threshold that you could hit being weird.
Right.
And
because they're looking for
he felt
the more serious roles, unless you're in the Avengers, and still that's kind of serious, but
and so he had done some Adult Swim stuff, and he was trying to get into comedy.
Squidbillies.
And he felt like he was just hitting his glass ceiling of being in the South.
I'm sorry, when you say things like that, I have like these thoughts that come in my brain that just come out, and I'd have to say it. It's not Tourette's, it's just me.
I came so close to getting an audition for Squidbillies. So close. It was like their last season. One of my friends, her fiance at the time was the executive producer.
Hang on. You were telling me about LA and your other friend. Let's save that for another time, because we're going to do this again. Sorry. This is too fun.
Yeah. All right. So where
he was going
we?
to LA.
Oh, we were getting
because of the threshold.
Yeah. So you should have him on. Let him tell you about that, because he'll tell you all you need to know about the dirty side, the ugly side of being an actor.
Okay. That sounds like something I would like to learn. Okay. Yeah. All right. So,
but so then
Walking Dead.
I got a call from the casting director that cast me on *Halt and Catch Fire* and asked me if I would be interested in being on The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And I asked in what capacity. And he said, I can't tell you that.
Oh. So
I
you
went,
didn't know if you're going to be a zombie or a main character or anything?
And I said, oh. And I didn't give an answer right then, and I reflected on it. I talked to Cricket, and I kind of was. I said I was going to turn it down. I was going to turn it down because I was like, I don't know that it's going to be a role that I want. And if you are on the show, you're on the show forever. They're never going to recast you in another role. They don't double cast.
Right.
They're not going to bring you back like some hack sitcom. Like, it's The Walking Dead. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm turning it down. I'm turning it down. She's like, so you're going to turn it down because of the idea that maybe in the future, after you've turned them down, that they're going to
call you back,
give you an opportunity again. And I went, that's a good point. Yeah. I think I'll do it. So I took it. I had no idea what I was doing. And it turned out to be a lot of fun. And I was very happy.
Which faction was that you were part of? I can't remember.
The Scavengers.
Yeah. I mean, that show went on for so long. And after was it the 9th season when it went downhill and turned into crap?
I mean, I think it went down right around the time I was on it.
After they killed
by the time they were,
that was it. I was done. It started to get.
I came on after that. So by the time they got to hiring me, the show had very much gone downhill. Which leads
when Beth died, I cried so hard.
Why? Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing, but and I also didn't know when I would start. Right. Then I took another role as one of the henchmen for the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming.
I remember that, and I saw you in the movie.
Yeah, I'm mostly cut.
But you're there in one split second clip.
Just
you can see the side of your head, and I'm like, that's Jonathan.
And so I got that role, and as soon as I said yes,
but you said there was 4 hours of footage for that, and they cut it down to two and a half.
Yeah, there was 4.5 hours of movie that they cut down to a much shorter movie because they didn't know what they were doing when they were doing it. A lot of scenes
it's Sony.
Were
they can't do
bananas. They were bananas. Like some of the stuff that they were pitching around and shot. Yeah. There was straight up a scene where they filmed. This is breaking news here, folks. They filmed a scene where they were going to reveal through a phone conversation with Michael Keaton. He was there filming that he was Peter Parker's father.
Oh my God. That would have been so.
They filmed
if Sony had control of that movie and it wasn't in Kevin Feige's control, that would have happened, and nobody would have watched that crap.
They filmed that scene, and I was there. Rehearsals were happening, and then the director kind of got this weird feeling because there was this weird hush that came across everyone. Yeah. Because everybody kind of thought it was weird.
Right.
Everybody kind of thought it was a weird scene.
Yeah. But why would you do that?
And there was discussions with the writer and stuff. And it was a weird energy. And then they just cleared everybody out. Just everybody out. And just
question about that then.
A private meeting.
So does Kevin Feige comes into this and it's don't do this?
I never saw him.
How does he have control of it if they can do that much, or is it just the editing at the end? And he's like, no, that's crap. That's crap. No, that's
it's got to be the edit. Yeah.
What if they filmed a whole movie that was just trash? Would he just throw the whole thing out?
I mean,
he didn't throw out Captain Marvel.
They've done that.
He left that one.
They didn't. Yeah. They've thrown out good movies. Why wouldn't they throw out a bad movie? They threw out Batgirl. Not Marvel, but DC. Was
it good? I didn't. Did you see a
general consensus
or something, or you don't really know?
No, no one's allowed to. The general consensus from a lot of the people attached to it is that it was good, but the problem was that Warner Brothers wanted to take the tax loss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I read about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So where were we? Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man. So I get cast in that, and it's becomes super stressful because I immediately get the call that I have to show up to work for Walking Dead, and it is the days that I have to be on Spider-Man.
Right.
And The Walking Dead was filming day shoots, and Spider-Man was filming night shoots at the time.
That's
and
a lot
I
for
said,
filming.
well, I guess I'll just do both.
Right.
And so I did not sleep.
You know who else did that? You know who? Michael J. Fox, whenever he did Back to the Future, he was filming, was it Family Ties, the show he was on? And Back to the Future. At the same time, he would go do the show in the daytime, and then they would film Back to the Future at night, and he didn't sleep but for like 2 hours a day. So did you do that?
I didn't. I mean, it wasn't even 2 hours. It was like back to back, and I would just kind of nod off sometimes in my chair. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of so I had a backpack. It was a Star Wars Rebel Alliance backpack that was just filled with energy drinks that I carried around with me.
Glad you didn't have a heart attack. Good God.
Yeah, it was the Monster Rehab peach tea.
Did you go to rehab after
drinks.
that?
No, but I felt like what kind of got us off on a tangent was Halt and Catch Fire, and you asked me about cigarettes. Yeah. And I almost felt like I needed to go to rehab about cigarettes, but not from Halt and Catch Fire. Okay. But because I took another role, as I was mentioning earlier, it's standard in movies that you smoke fake cigarettes. So I took another job for an independent but major studio. It was an independent but major film, and you'll know exactly what it was. The Case for Christ.
Okay. I remember that one.
I don't know if you remember that movie.
Wasn't Willem Dafoe
I am
in
an
that
office
one?
worker in
was that the one Willem Dafoe? Willem Dafoe, was he in that one?
I don't think
he was in a movie about Jesus.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and so The Case for Christ is in the 70s.
Okay.
And I'm an
no, the
office
one Willem
worker,
Dafoe was in was actually like a period piece from the time of Christ.
Yeah.
So, never mind.
Yeah. And this was like, I was cast specifically to smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, cool, I've done this before. And it was a month-long job of all I did was go there and smoke cigarettes behind the main character. What? Like, that's all I did. But what they didn't tell me until I showed up was they said, which one would you prefer? Do you want the regular cigarettes or the American Spirits? I would take the American Spirits because they're natural. And I was like, you don't have fake cigarettes? And they were like, no, we've got these. And so while on The Case for Christ, I smoked cigarettes, chain smoking, all day, every day for a month straight. To the point, I did make me nauseous, absolutely. But to the point to where when I got done, I was like, I was smoking cigarettes. Like the Jesus movie got me on cigarettes.
You were a smoker.
Like, yeah. I'm like, let me take a couple of these out the prop pack home with me. Like,
you're stopping at the 7-Eleven on the way home.
Not quite. No? I was getting close to it.
Did you ever like actually buy your own and like?
Not because of that. No. I had smoked cigarettes before that and quit.
Okay. You had already quit.
And I had whenever I was about 20, I decided I was gonna give it a go. Give it a go. See how cool it be.
See how that is.
And
it wasn't.
It was fun sometimes, but
it's really doing it for you.
Seemed to be more costly than anything. Sure. And then quit until they got me back in. Then I quit again.
Okay, good.
But
I'm glad to hear that. So like acting, did you do anything else other than those things? I know you were on that one show where you didn't talk and you got paid pretty good money just not to talk in one scene. Oh, was that the comedy show? What was that called?
Oh.
You like went into the pharmacy.
Kevin probably saves the world.
Kevin Saves the World. That was the name of it. Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So that was my first face audition.
Okay.
Because
Was that
they
before
were
Hard
like,
Catch Fire?
Nope, that was after.
Okay.
So
But
that
they wouldn't
was
pay. They wouldn't
that
let
was
you
my,
talk because then they'd have to pay you more.
They would have to pay me more, but I got paid a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
Like I got
Just
paid.
to say nothing.
All right. They paid me what they would have paid me to be an actor.
Right.
The problem is that they didn't pay me royalties. They got out of the royalties because I wasn't union, because I wasn't talking. So I had a face audition because the scene was written in a way to where it was like the joke was the person's reaction to the question that was being asked. And it just needed like a horrified, disgusted face, you know? And I'm very good at faces. I've been making faces for years.
Dude.
So I got that role, and that was really cool because it was John Ritter's kid, Jason Ritter. So that really was like, he was the main character. And Jason Ritter is such a talented actor, but like the whole time I just wanted to talk to him about his dad.
The first time I saw his dad was on
Love John
Problem
Ritter.
Child.
Problem Child.
I watched that movie so many times when I was a kid.
Man, Problem Child, I really, 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 really wish. And in fact, we should start this.
Okay.
And I hope that maybe through this podcast, we can get enough traction on this to make this a thing. So you just really nail this home. We need to release the original cut of Problem Child.
Okay. I didn't know there was a different cut.
Have made it very clear that the movie was tamed down for the audience at the time.
Was it PG?
It wasn't necessarily because of the PG-ness. It was, they just felt like there were jokes that were just too dark.
Well, I mean, they had a pig crapping on the mom's
movie.
face at the end.
And there's apparently a better cut of the movie that is much funnier, that everybody involved with says is much funnier. And there's never been any real motivation or like push to release it. There's like there's a small devoted fan base, but maybe we could get some energy behind this and release. We need the unrated cut.
What's the director's cut?
The director's cut of Problem Child.
Problem Child. Heck yeah, I want it. Did you like the second one? I kind of did.
I don't remember much about the second one.
I kind of liked it because for whatever reason, he had this video game in his room that was like a spaceship that you could get in and sit in there. And I was like, I want one of those. And because he had that, it's the coolest thing ever. And same thing with like Richie Rich, all the cool stuff he had. I was like, I want to live like that. But
Problem Child was like my first exposure to Gilbert Gottfried too.
Like, what are you talking about?
What a legend though. Like, I mean, like, and that's like classic Gilbert Gottfried. Like, other than Aladdin, like, man, those are his like two, I feel like, iconic roles, other than telling the aristocrats joke.
Definitely. Almost as good as Bobcat Goldthwait.
Man. Emo introduced me to Bobcat.
No way.
One night, randomly in Atlanta. I just come to Emo's show. Like Emo called me up, was like, hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta. You should come. You should go to this show. He was very specific. Go to this show. He didn't tell me why. It was because Bobcat Goldthwait. It had nothing to do with the movie. It was way before the movie. I was still a teenager. I was 19. He was like, you should go to this show. And it was because Bobcat Goldthwait was going to surprise the audience.
Did you know who he was at that time?
Full set after.
Police Academy and all that, right?
Yeah.
Scrooged.
It was so crazy.
Yeah. What other movies was he in? Like Animal House.
You know, he's a phenomenal director.
I didn't know he made movies.
He directed.
I thought he was too crazy to make movies.
I think one of Robin Williams' best movies. There's a Father of the Year or World's Greatest Dad. World's Greatest Dad. It's
You're talking about Father's Day?
World's Greatest Dad.
I never heard of that one.
It's late in Robin Williams' career, and it's definitely a comedy movie. Yeah. It's hard hitting with the laughs.
One where the guy hangs himself, is it?
I think that's just Robin. No, no.
I'll cut that out.
No, I don't know. Does he hang himself?
There's a movie.
It's definitely It's definitely a dark.
No, there is a movie
where he tries to hang himself. He tries to hang himself in the beginning because his son dies. Oh yes, his son dies. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was directed by Bobcat.
So I'm not going to cut that out because that's actually in the movie. So okay, sad. Yeah. It's sad what happened with Robin. Like, it broke my heart. I loved that guy. He was such a light in the world.
Oh yeah, Robin Williams was like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that was part during the later part of his career. If that movie was like a amazing comedy, but it was also like, it'll make you cry. Yeah. Like, and that's Bobcat Goldthwait has a lot of really, really good movies that you would not expect
from that guy,
to come from him. And so, like, he's got a really cool found footage horror movie that he directed.
Interesting.
You wouldn't expect it. There's a lot. You should jump into Bobcat's
and check him
director
out.
IMDb.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So from there, I don't know. Is there any more like big acting things we can talk about, or can we go on to the politics?
Oh, we can talk about politics. We can talk. I mean, I did go on from that to we did the Marks. After Walking Dead.
Okay, but when did you run with? Was that before you ran with Spike Cohen? I
feel
like Spike was before the Marks.
No, not at all. So
I want to save the Marks for last because it's such a good movie.
Okay, so we'll talk about that last. So I did get into all right. So they're kind of coincide. Okay. So we filmed the Marks before COVID.
Right. Which you would have had to have.
Yes. And when
I regret
COVID happened,
he invited me to come be in that, and like for some reason just couldn't make it work. I needed the money. I think the job that I worked at, I had to work out of town all the time. But I regret so much that I couldn't come be in that. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, I should have quit my job.
Yeah, it was. You would have been in the video store.
Yeah, I probably could have been. I was trying to get you in the video Bill
store. Yeah.
In the video store, honestly.
I think we had a pirate costume on hand.
I should have showed up. I should have called in sick for a week.
But so we filmed that pre-COVID. And then COVID happened, but it was like right around the release date. So the way the movie was going to be coming out was we were part of different like Comic-Cons and stuff. Yeah.
So you were going to screen it.
And
cool. Yeah.
So you would screen it. There'd be a panel after, and we were hitting up the cons and stuff like that. Well, when COVID happened, all of that got canceled.
So you had nothing to do.
Yep, and there was nothing.
You're
we
like,
could do
I got nothing to do. I'm going to go run for vice.
And that wasn't quite how it went down, but so that put a big hold on the Marks coming out. And then during that time, I did feel like there was a lot of like, there were a lot of problems, and I felt like there were a lot of things that were not being addressed by anyone on any side of any issue.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the best way to help with that would be... So, in Alabama, so I ran for Congress.
Right. I remember that.
In Alabama, you know, you're not gonna win, and like nobody's running as a Democrat.
Right.
There's not Democrats in Alabama. You've got like legitimately about, I think it's 83% of the ballot is uncontested.
Sure.
Like you just you have a printout and it shows you who's going to be in office. Not who you're voting. You're not voting.
Right. Because you don't have a choice. These are the people running.
You don't have
vote for these people or don't vote. I got you.
So my thought process was like, okay, I don't feel like anything's being addressed by anybody, but I'm not gonna like, you can't run and win as a Democrat in Alabama.
Right.
And you also have a lot of like people as a Republican, they're just not going to vote or even listen to a perspective if it's got that party's symbol next to it. And the same thing goes for somebody who would typically vote.
They're not like
for a
us
Democrat.
who will go either way and just listen to who's talking and see what's going on.
And if I had run as like a Republican, for instance, let's say I ran in the Republican primary and wanted to try and primary the Republican, And I felt like that was the easiest thing. Then maybe I go out and try to find the disaffected Democrats, and then they don't want to listen to me because I got an R next to my name. So now it's a double-edged sword. So I said maybe the best
you were in
way
Auburn at the time,
to
right?
fix. No,
Phoenix.
This was
Dothan. Okay, so you lived where you live. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And so. For people who do not know where Dothan, Alabama is, it is the restaurant capital of the world.
Epic city.
And it is the peanut capital of the world.
And the penis capital of the world.
The penis and the penis
Look it
capital
up
of the
on
world.
Google.
We have the Dothan, Alabama nut drop. Go ahead and look it up, and you will see
some nuts.
A phallus.
Yeah,
oh
my God.
But so I felt like the best way to like provide my services was to run for Congress.
Okay.
And I did kind of get roped into it. Spike Cohen was running for vice president at the time.
Oh, he was the one with Joe Jorgensen, right? And you were running for Congress. For some reason, I thought you had done this twice now, but okay.
Yeah. And so Spike Cohen was running for vice president, and he was coming to Birmingham to speak. And I was not back into politics at all.
Okay.
But organizers at the event knew that I was kind of friends with Spike, that we knew each other, and that I was kind of like part of the same kind of like third party movement and whatever. And they called me up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in emceeing this event? We know you're from the entertainment world, so you'd be comfortable in this political environment, but not be politics. You'd be entertainment." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be fine. I can come do that." And so I went up to Birmingham and I did that. And as soon as I walked off the stage, I was cornered by about 4 or 5 people and said, "So you're running for office, right?" And I was like, I don't know about all that.
Right. And was it scary to think about? Like that big of an office?
Well, I'd already run before, but I had.
But there wasn't the momentum before like there was this time.
And I put it away like as a thought. I was like, that's not like I regretted it, but I also was like, but I'm not doing that again. You know? I regretted not finishing it. But I regretted dropping out because of unfortunate circumstances. I felt like I should have just maybe sucked it up and dealt with it. Yeah. But I don't know if I made the right choice or not at the time. But it made me really start thinking about like, well, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do this. And I started thinking like, yeah, there is a lot of divisiveness. Yeah, there's a lot of problems. Yeah, there is, you know. And I said, well, if I am going to do it, I don't want to be disingenuous.
Right.
And that was something that I felt like I was a little bit the first time I ran for office because I cut my hair and
you weren't yourself.
Yeah, I tried to be a little more respectable because you
cleaned up,
all the old people.
Yeah, you cleaned up and you had on the suit and you looked like you were trying to be a lawyer. You know, I was like, that's weird.
But that's what everybody in our hometown said. That's what I needed to do if I wanted them to support me.
You had to be normal
and not support this corrupt guy who just had them draw him into our district. Right. They would rather let corruption happen than have someone
with a pure
who
spirit
looked a little different.
Looks different.
Yeah, who looked a little So
I think you need a little different sometimes. You know?
And I decided I didn't want to do that again. But I also decided that I really wanted to like give it a go. And if I was going to do it, I was going to like not come in at the last minute. I was going to try and really work at it. And so I spent before the election of 2020 even had a winner.
Right.
I'd already come to the conclusion. I talked to the person who kind of was the person who ran third party down here and never had any momentum.
Right.
And asked him how he would feel if I primaried
and just did it as yourself.
And he was like, And he was like, I'm not running again. I'm not running. I don't care. I'm just running because somebody needs to run.
You were asking his permission. That you didn't want to step on his toes.
I was like, I didn't want to step on his toes. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, you just run, man, run." So
here's the baton, buddy.
And so before that election even was done, I'd already started trying to put together like a team, looking at who I knew that was smart, asking my friends, asking Spike, who do you know that worked on your campaign that could possibly want to work on something after it's all said and done. And we gave it a go, you know? And it
looked fun.
I think, I mean, we didn't change anything. We didn't influence the election. I do think that we influenced some hearts and minds a little bit.
I feel like that there were thousands and thousands of people that paid attention to that campaign, and I feel like you guys opened people's minds up to think about something different.
Yeah, I think that's what it did. It's not. We didn't change the election.
No,
but we changed hearts and minds. You know, like and like one of the things that I thought was like. I made me kind of feel like maybe I was being a little bit hard on my Democratic opponent in my head. Yeah. But so we had 3 people run. Somebody did jump in as a Democrat, which I felt was foolish because it's the same person that runs and loses
every time.
Very badly every single time. And I just felt like it had to be just for attention. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like. And that's in my head. That's who that person was. Yeah. And until we were debating, and the Republican did not show up to the debate, so it was just me and her. And she brought up something, and her answer. I felt like her heart was in the right place, but I felt like her policy was very bad.
Okay.
And I responded to her and I said that I agreed with where her heart was, but sometimes
the way to get there wasn't the way.
Sometimes you have unintended consequences with legislation, and then laid out all of the potential unintended consequences about what she just proposed. Sure. And she took a moment and said, I had never considered any of those things as potential consequences.
Kudos to her for saying that.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe I've been a little bit hard on you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
You always got to like someone who's going to admit that they haven't thought of something that way.
Yeah. It takes, saying and it's the perfect excuse if you don't know something. It's just telling the truth. I'd never thought of that. I didn't know that. It's the biggest thing you can say as a person to someone. It shows the perfect level of confidence. And people are afraid to do it. If you want to be the most confident, like coolest person ever, just say you're wrong.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry. You have to explain that to me.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Because I've never learned that before. And you're right. That's mature.
I've never heard that piece of information. I appreciate you giving it to me.
Because the idiots that in everyday life, you meet people that pretend like they know what you're talking about. And when you know what you're talking about or what other people are talking about and they do that, they make themselves look so dumb. And you lose all respect for them. And you're like, okay, you're an immature person. Sorry. And you don't tell them that, but you think it in your head.
I mean, can you imagine if she had doubled down, which is what politicians would typically do?
Most of them always do.
They would just double down and be like, "No, my position is right." No, she went, "Oh, that's information I did not have."
Maybe she's actually a libertarian.
I'm not quite sure. Her views are not quite.
Okay, we won't get into that.
They're on everything.
Yeah,
but perhaps she's a little more open-minded. I don't think we fit into this whole neat bubble of
two sides of
libertarian, conservative,
coin.
Progressive, liberal, any of the labels that we sling around.
As Americans, we are so different.
I ran for vice president as a pirate, but that was the officially endorsed pirate party. So the founders of the Pirate Bay.
Hang on just a second though. I was so detached from social media for a while that I did not realize this. I'm going to have to go back and look for evidence, but continue.
Yeah. So the United States Pirate Party, which is remnants of people that were, and rightly so, upset about all of the legal actions towards the coders that created Pirate Bay.
That's why we were talking about Bootleg Bill earlier, by the way. Okay.
Yeah. And but I mean, when Vermin Supreme became their presidential nominee this past election cycle, he asked me to be his vice presidential candidate.
And before you keep going, I'm going to post a picture of this guy because everybody should know who he is if they see him. And if you don't listen to him, you'd think he's insane. But if you listen to this guy, he is one of the most intelligent people that you will ever listen to.
Yeah. Vermin has conveyed something to me over our friendship that I feel like is one of the most important pieces of information that anybody could ever give me. And it's that sometimes if you do the silly thing, you get attention.
Right.
It breaks the ice. It makes people comfortable.
And then they're going to listen.
And then once everybody's comfortable and we're friends because we're being silly and we're fun, maybe now we can try and figure out how to fix this stuff.
Not really buy ponies. Maybe buy ponies.
No, the ponies are absolutely happening. Don't you understand? They're mandatory. They're mandatory.
Absolutely.
The ponies are mandatory.
He's going to write an executive order.
That's right. It's by executive order. As many executive orders as we need.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of fun executive orders that I pitched during our campaign that I truly think that if implemented, even as silly as they potentially are, they could be highly beneficial to the American public.
Give me some of them.
And there's legal precedent to do so.
Give me some of them.
This is my favorite one. And this one loses, and I used to pitch it a lot during my political libertarian podcast circuit while running for Congress. So, but it's fun to pitch it in a just conversational standpoint. So, I don't know if you're familiar with the 1800s through the 1900s. There was a concept of the land lottery.
Oh,
are you familiar with the land lottery?
I've heard of that, but I do not remember. So you'll have to, and my audience may not know. So let's talk about it. The land lottery was a great idea and concept. It was, we have new settlers that have come to this country. They don't have anywhere, and we got a lot of land. Sure.
So what we're going to do, because we bought all this land for pennies on the dollar, we're going to raffle it off in the lottery.
Okay.
But unfortunately at the time, because it was the 1800s, there were very specific criteria on who was allowed to be in the land lottery.
Yes.
Sure.
Definitely no Irish people.
Now, definitely no Irish people. That is absolutely true. I would have been screwed. No Irish people. Sure. Yeah. No women.
What? Excuse me.
No Native Americans. Absolutely no Native Americans.
Or any of the other people.
But it was our land to begin with. Well, that's too bad.
Right.
So there's legal precedent of the land lottery. So what a lot of people don't know is that the federal government has about 1.5 acres of unused federal land for every citizen of the United States.
I've heard of this before. Yeah.
You might have heard of it from me because
no, it wasn't from you. It wasn't. So like this is like I'm connecting things, but keep going.
So if you've heard it from someone else, I hope that then I think the idea has spread because I sold Spike on this because he was going around pitching this weird version of this weird libertarian version of reparations, and I was like, that's weird.
To get it straight, I did not hear anybody talk about lottery or anything to do with it, but I heard people say like, there's not really a space shortage. There's like at least an acre per person, and I can't remember who it was. It was on a podcast, but it was like more obscure podcast.
Yeah, so I've been trying to make this idea catch on for a while. I've been trying. So I got Spike on this for a while. So you could start the land lottery back and just do it without being a jerk about it.
Yeah, make it fair.
You could just be fair. Yeah. And I think that would probably be good for everybody, and it would solve the problem of where are we going to put these ponies? Like, we have to have somewhere to put these ponies that we're going to give away.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of crap around if we don't.
You don't need a pony when you got an apartment. So we got to get the land lottery back. There's legal precedent.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but by talking about the ponies and by talking about where are we gonna house the pony, we get to talk about the land lottery. We get to talk about history. We get to learn. We get to share a story. We get to have fun together. And that type of human bonding experience is 100% what Vermin is all about and what he's doing with like his thing that he has developed over the last 40 years.
I mean, and that is what comedians do anyways. The good ones, they have a reason why they're talking about the things they're talking about. And the cancel culture really hurt that because they took away the ability to use ridiculously absurd jokes that nobody intends for you to hear as truth or what I really mean. But it's like, it is absurd. It's so bad that you feel bad and you have to laugh because you're nervous. And then think about it. Dave Chappelle is a perfect example of that.
When it became less about going to a stand-up show and about having a courtroom stenographer to type it all down and try and be like, so it says here, you said this. And it's like, yeah, but I was joking when I said that. And it's like, well, you said it.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he gets it. And he took that to another level to do good. On a bigger level. So when I did the whole run with Vermin, we were only on the ballot in one state. What? And that was So we went through the process. How do you get on the ballot?
Getting on the ballot to run for president is a difficult process. Okay. So when people ask why don't better people run? Well, it's because it's hard to do when you're not rich, and it's hard to do when you don't have a lot of connections, resources, and
you have to buy your way onto the ballot.
You have to buy your way onto the ballot, essentially. A lot of and the rules and regulations are different on state by state, and just because you make one state doesn't mean you make the other state. And the rules and regulations are different, and you have to have someone in this state that knows the rules, and sometimes it's legally required that the person signing you up and dealing with the state has to be a citizen of the state, and there's all these crazy things that if you don't know how to deal with, you are never going to have a political
Sounds
voice.
Kind of exclusionary on purpose.
Yeah, it seems like it's on purpose. But one of Vermin's fans reached out to him, and Vermin had already received the endorsement of the Pirate Party, and Vermin took this as like as an opportunity. He wanted to take the boot off. He's like, I've been wearing the boot for 30 years. I want to try a new hat. And he was like, I've been wanting to try a pirate hat for a while, so this would be a great synergy here. We could talk about this stuff, and this would be fun. And so he had already started that, and then one of Vermin's fans reached out and said, I have access and I have filed the paperwork, and I've been sitting on it for a while until the right moment. I have access to the Conservative Party of Delaware's ballot access for president for this year. We can run any candidate that we want to be listed as the Conservative Party of Delaware on the ballot across the whole state.
Right.
And we want to put you on there. And Vermin's like, sign me up. So I was so excited about this news. I'm like, there's so much potential for jokes here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, we're the real conservative voice for America, you know? And it's like, there's so many things that, you know, that, like, Vermin brought me on because it's like, we're here to have fun.
You guys
but
are
like,
a perfect
we're also,
team.
you know, yeah. And so it was like so exciting for me. And I was like, Vermin said, how about we do a tour of every Delaware's tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't even know if you
I've been through
you
there.
can comprehend.
I've been through there. Yeah.
Right. Have you been through it? Yeah. Have you?
It took me like
even
3 seconds,
traveling?
but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
I think I coughed and fell out of it.
Less than half. The whole state is less than half of the size of the congressional district that I ran for Congress.
Okay.
In. Less than half of the size. Okay. I'd already run a campaign bigger than what I was about to run. Like, so.
You just went, when you did your tour, you basically went to different parts of town.
Yeah, we went to different parts of town. And we had a couple weeks to do so. And we booked every venue that we could and did the show to every audience who would let us. We caused any kind of commotion that we could around town just to have people going, what is happening? But it like I don't even know. I've never felt such positive energy than I did going around with him, because it was nothing but, what can we do to make other people have fun? What can we do to make other people smile? And then even if you're not, we weren't even at a show. Right. We're just walking down the street. We're trying to be like, there's a person over there. I bet I can make him laugh. Yeah. Like, every person needed a smile. Every person. If you were a person in the state of Delaware, Vermin was there to make you laugh at some point. It didn't matter if you paid to see him or not. And after we had been there, because the state was so small, after we had been there for the 2 weeks, honestly, after we'd been there for a week, we're walking down the street. Hey, guy, like, we started to know everybody. Cool. We started to have relationships with people because we'd already just made them laugh. We started a conversation with them. We didn't care if they voted for us or not.
That's funny.
And we just going around taking 2 weeks out of my life,
having fun and making people think, right?
To just have fun, talk to people, and make people have fun. Oh man, it was so rewarding.
That's amazing.
Yeah, one of the coolest things.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to do that. All right, real quick before we get into the marks, I got to pee, so let's take a little break. We'll come back.
Yeah, I need to pee. So that's great.
We'll finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say that when you told me to make sure that I didn't have a water bottle with a label on it,
did you drink a bunch of water before we started?
Well, I did drink a lot of water, but I also I was highly offended by it because I'm a consumerism advocate. I believe I believe that we should have brands on everything. I think we need to plaster.
I want to do that, but they got to pay me.
Stickers on everything.
I'm corporate too, buddy.
And so now I'm having to drink out of a mason jar.
You know, I haven't even noticed you've been drinking out of that this whole time, but except one time.
And now we have to worry about the fine people. I didn't even think about it. We have to worry about the fine people at Atlas Mason and their jars.
Now my video can't get monetized. I'm so screwed. Why'd you do that? I have to edit that thing out and blur it the whole time. It's going to takes so long?
If you can't read
I'm
that.
just joking.
You can't read that. But if you can, Atlas Mason, pay up.
All right.
Pay up, you cheapskates.
Yeah, for real.
You got money. You've been doing this since 1842 or whatever. You've got some money, Atlas.
They probably cost $10 a jar now. So
if you ask Atlas if he's offended by his jar being in your
he's
video,
holding the world on his shoulders. He doesn't care.
Atlas shrugged.
It's totally. All right, so the marks. I have to tell you my review.
Yes.
I won't spoil it at
good.
all.
Yes.
I will not spoil it at all. But so it very much reminded me of not the plot or anything, but Clerks, how that was done.
Yeah.
It was a better budget. And it was heartfelt, and it says co-wrote, but I just feel like you wrote the movie because it felt like a Donald Seville fever dream, and it happened in your backyard is what it felt like.
So
it felt like there was representative characters of people that I know in this movie. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. You're not at all wrong. But I will
I'm not
say
done
this.
with my review.
That's
I'm not done with my review.
Oh, okay.
I'm not done.
I don't want to take any credit away from
you can
Joe.
give him the credit.
Joe and I are very
similar. Give him the credit later, but listen. Okay, so I'm watching this movie in the beginning, and I'm like, okay, this is a fun little independent film. No, the first scene comes out the gate. I'm screaming. The scene where the guy comes in and he's like, I want the keys to the back room. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that I am screaming. And I'm crying, and Rebecca's like trying to put the kids to bed, and she's like, what are you doing in there? It's like, shut up, I'm watching this movie, it's funny. and then it just gets better. And it never gets boring. It's 2 hours long. Maybe it's not that long anymore. You said some of it might got cut out.
It is 2 hours long. It's always going to be 2 hours
2
long.
Hours long. And I'm not done. Let me tell you. The scene with Bishop Moneybags.
It's too much praise, Milty. It's too much praise.
Shut up. You're too humble.
I'm not good at taking it.
Shut.
Okay.
All right. The scene where Bishop Moneybags takes him out, and you know what I'm talking about. I literally was like, I was dead. It is not because my friend made this movie. If I had watched this movie that anybody else, this is a great movie, and it doesn't feel like an independent movie. Yes, the scenes are, they're not like edited like with the colors and the things of the modern world, but it feels genuine, and it is not anything like, you remember watching the movie Sordid Lives? Did you watch that? Sordid Lives. You need to watch Sordid Lives. It's got a lot of big actors, but it's very low budget, and like their film quality wasn't even as good as yours. And it's older, but like you would expect with the actors in it that it would be a better like quality film. This film is high quality. You've got some legitimate, like the main star of the movie, and you you carry the movie together very well. And what is she gaining more popularity now because she was like a voice actor on some things, and I looked at her IMDb. She was a minion, and not a minion. I mean, what was it? That Mario Rabid. She was a Rabid. She was the Rosaline Rabid.
Yeah, there's a lot of the cast is really popping off. I mean, Bishop Moneybags.
He is so funny.
Oh man,
and
Jason Louder.
He is the stereotypical guy that he is. Like, I know a guy just like him.
Yeah.
Anime.
Yeah. I knew Jawan Hale too. We both. I'm sure we both knew Jawan Hale in Donaldsonville. That's who Super Shotokai is.
Yeah. And that one guy. I don't want to say he's like. I don't know his name. I wrote it down, but I've got all my notes on my phone that I'm using over there for a second.
Gunnar Willis, I believe, is probably who you're talking about. He plays Sam, the big guy.
Yes! Thank you for saying it for me.
Yeah.
He looks like Josh Peck in another timeline.
Gunnar is, man, Gunner's in some really cool stuff right now.
Good.
He just is he is in this really cool. What's the guy that plays Stanley in The Office?
I I'm not that familiar with
like
The
the bald
Office.
guy, you know what I'm talking
Everybody's
about?
going to hate me
So
for this. I
he-
did not like The Office that much.
Gunner's in a movie with him called Electric Jesus, and they're a Christian rock band. And they are, it's like in the early 80s when like Christian
Is
rock
it kind
is
of
like,
a Gemstones vibe?
I don't even know if it's quite that. It's still a little more like
Toned back.
PG-13, not trying to like get pushed too many buttons. It's really trying to like nail the time period of like that 80s Christian rock phase where you have those 80s
like Petra
metal bands. Yeah, and Gunner plays the bass player. I think it's called Electric Jesus.
I'll look it up.
I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah. Hey, I hope I didn't get it wrong. But Gunner is so talented. He's in a Danny McBride project, not Righteous Gemstones, but another Danny McBride project.
The Righteous Gemstones. We'll come back to the movie, but when I first learned about that show, I watched it and I kind of felt a little. Yeah, you're right on the money. I think this Electric Jesus is he's in it. I can see his face in it. So yeah, that's the one. On the poster for it. Anyways, when I first watched it, I was like, I can't laugh at this. And I was like, they're making fun of God. And I felt really bad. And then I like kind of thought about it and I was like, no, they're not. You can't make fun of God. God is infinite. There's no way to make fun of God. And then I started looking.
Oh, they're making fun of very specific type of people.
And then I started to look at like the kind of people they were making fun of. I was like, I know some of these people because while there are a lot of great pastors and churches out there, there's also not. There's some that are not. And I've met people very much like what happens behind the scenes that people don't see. And it's like, you know, I'm not saying not to go to church or not to be a Christian or not to believe in or go to, you know, but pay attention to who you're going for, like who you're with and what they do behind the scenes and how they treat you. If you're going to go to church, make sure that it's the right kind of place to go. And that movie really opened my eyes to that. And it took me a while to find a church that I felt comfortable going to for a while after watching that show. And I finally found a place that I'm comfortable with where they don't teach extra crazy stuff. They just teach the Bible. It's simple. You go in, you listen to a 30-minute talk, and you leave. And it's not wild, it's not crazy, and it's uplifting, and it helps you. But off that tangent, back to the movie. That guy we were talking about, what was his name again? He played Sam. Gunner. Yes, Gunner.
Gunner
Maybe
Willis,
he can come on here.
No, Gunner's great. You really need to have Jason, who plays Bishop Moneybags.
I would love to talk to
Jason
him.
Louder
He's so funny.
He is such a talented character actor. He is better known from being part of the DC universe. He's one of the villains in Black Lightning.
Oh, yeah?
And he's also in the Wu-Tang Bio series. He's like one of their like rival gang members. But yeah, Jason is such an interesting guy. We did a different project together, and we both had the weird roles we had to go to work every day, but we were not always on set. We were just constantly bored.
Right.
While all the other normal characters, but they knew they were going to need the weird characters that day. So we were just hanging out with each other all the time. And we just kind of realized we just got along. Yeah. And I knew somehow we talked about pro wrestling at some point. He brought up that he liked Jake the Snake.
Oh, yeah.
And we just kind of...
Remember when Jake the Snake got saved for a while? And then he I don't know if you knew about this, but he came to our youth camp one time and gave his testimony. His story was so sad. And then he kind of fell back into addiction for a while. And then he had that movie where, what was it? And DDP was there and all that. That was a really touching story.
Man, that movie was, it was really cool for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Like it was such a touching story. But at the same time, like, it was also kind of like one of the first new era of independent filmmaking, where it's like, I made this movie. I didn't ask a studio or anybody else to give me money. I did this. And now that I have it, I'm not asking you to distribute it either. I'm not looking for a distributor. I'm putting it out. and they were the first people to do it successfully.
Sure. Well, they had a name to be able to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really cool moment for everybody. Like, it was good, but it set the standard. Somebody had to do that to break that threshold open. Like, and now that's kind of become like
that's kind of what we're doing now as creators and content creators around socials.
Yeah.
Like, we're creating things and working with each other to make things for other people who don't want to or don't know how to do it, but they like to watch it and listen. Yeah,
sure. I mean, everybody's got to be entertained. And I was created for entertainment purposes.
Absolutely. So the strip club scene in there, was that was really the place, like on 75, that was in that place for real with the wings, like the billboards that you could buy? When I was a kid, I used to wouldn't even look at the signs, dude. I was like, I'm gonna go to hell for looking at the signs.
We chose that place. We knew that place. We said that's got to be the place. They actually let us film there, and if they hadn't, we already had the B-roll of the sign. We'd have filmed it somewhere else. That sign was going to be in the movie one way or another.
The lesbian girl in that scene made me laugh so hard. Yes, I can't say anything, but yes.
Yeah, she's
funny.
She's got go down her IMDb rabbit hole. Like, everybody who's in this movie,
they're serious.
I am trying to be as humble as possible.
You don't have to be.
All these people.
You don't have to be Jonathan.
All these people.
Be
are
real.
Great. These people are so good.
It's real. You can believe in it. It's good.
Mean,
when this hits streaming, people are going to love it.
And that is I think that's what kind of bummed me out about the whole process of it coming out, is because it is so good.
It's hilarious.
And like, when you see it in a theater, and I've seen it in the theater with an audience.
It's not just stupid. It's got a great story, and it's heartfelt and meaningful.
And if I do say so myself, this is what I am the most proud of, and this is what I push for, and this is, if you want to ask where my hand was in this project, I have felt firmly for many years that the problem with comedy films is that they do not approach filmmaking the same way they approach good joke writing. They do not look for a twist. Right. Comedy movies are meant to be formulaic and make you laugh, and you don't have to really care about the plot. You just watched a bunch of laughs.
But you want these characters to win.
Right. But that's how most comedy movies function. And I can't really think of a lot of comedy movies that have genuine, unpredictable twists. And when you said that the movie is 2 hours long and you didn't get bored, I think that is because it was written to have twists. Yeah. It is unpredictable. When you start the movie, you do not know where it is going, and by the time you are halfway through, you do not know where it is going at all.
As a dad, the first scene of the movie kind of made me feel a little sick to my stomach. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Oh, man.
Yeah, but it sets the tone for who that character is.
And then later, like, when you find out everything that's going on, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what? So yeah, twists.
Yep.
Twists and turns.
Yep. It's written very specifically, and I think that's if Joe is from I don't want to get it wrong, but honestly, middle Georgia.
Okay.
So he's from
like Macon-ish area, because
Tifton.
Okay.
Area. Yeah. That kind of like. So he's got a lot of the same upbringing that we had. We've been exposed to a lot of the same things.
Right. Small town, overly religious.
So the
everybody's
synergy
a
of
sinner.
us working together on this. Yeah, it worked. It worked really, really well because we knew we all grew up with the same people, even though we were from a different town. And I think that's also what when you say like it felt like your hometown, it felt like Donaldsonville. I think a lot of people are going to feel
feels like their hometown.
Felt like their hometown. And
anybody who grew up in a small town is going to love it.
Yeah.
People that grew up in New York City might not get it, but people who grew up in a small town,
they might not get it, but it wasn't made for them, and that's fine. That's the
it's
other
a love
thing.
letter.
Not everything is made for everybody.
It's a love letter to it's a love letter to who it was written for.
Yeah.
It's like let's laugh together and look at this story. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
But I look forward to people watching it, and I think that's what it's for me. I love going to the theater. I love being the energy in a movie theater. You and I have always, back in the day, we went to, how many times did we go?
Every
we
weekend.
went to see the same movies.
We went and watched Scary Movie 3
the same day.
3 times.
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
It was 5 times. We went and watched Scary Movie, and we laughed the same every single time.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Scary Movie.
It's an experience. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scary Movie 3 is wonderful.
We went and watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Remember that? And we both had our...
Twice. We went to see that twice. It scared us so bad that we had to go see it
again. and then I couldn't sleep for like 3 months after that.
Yeah.
And my mom, so it came out on video, and is after that because it was on TV, and she was watching. I said, what are you doing? And she's like, I was like, you can't watch that. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, you cannot watch that movie in this house. I rebuke you. I made her turn it off. I still can't watch it.
Oh man, it's a scary one. I do think if we're gonna talk exorcism movies, I think the scariest one to me is the last Exorcism.
I ain't watching none of those.
That one,
you can have it.
Whew, that's boy. It's I'll give you a rundown.
Nah, pass.
On you'll pass. Man,
I don't like them.
The plot.
Okay. Tell me the plot.
I'll give you the plot.
You got no details.
I'm gonna give you the plot's good.
Don't describe nothing.
Good. Yeah. Oh, not at all. This is the plot. There is a person who is kind of he's a con man. He goes around. He cons religious people that have either a child who's got a mental problem or something's going on or whatever, and he cons them, does fake exorcisms, and he is ripping people off.
Some of that actually happens too.
And right, it's stuff that actually happens, and it's done kind of in like a found footage way, where it's a documentary crew that's following. They are aware that this person is a fraud, and they're following him, and he's aware. This is his way of exposing himself. He's going to do a tell-all.
Instead of pulling his pants down in public, he does this. Yeah.
Right. And so he's showing what he's doing behind the scenes, how he pulls everything off, and then he runs into a family, and they are not lying.
Very interesting. Now I want to watch it.
And he's a fraud who grew up in church, and but he knows all of this.
The real one.
He does all of this, and he finds the real one.
Cool. Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
What else did we go see? Man.
But the theater experience is just wonderful, though. I just love. I mean, like, and that goes. I mean, it's like in plays. People don't. I feel like plays. They're not for everybody, but they should be. I mean, quite frankly, there's a lot of really great plays that don't really get produced, that just exist out there.
I actually have some friends on X that are actors, and one of them is involved in the play, and like it's not even in a big theater. It doesn't look like, unless they're just practicing in the space, but like it's just a room, and they've got a little raised stage, and people come watch them do it. It's not really overproduced or anything. It's just people acting. But until you go experience it, and if it's bad, it's going to be real bad. Yeah. Just be clear, it's going to be real. It's going to be worse than you could ever imagine if it's bad. But if it's good, it's going to be great. Well, that's how that kind of stuff when
works.
I went to Chipola, dude,
and you're not going to know until you do it. You're not going to know until you get out of your house.
When I went to Chipola, dude, I was a music major, but we also kind of hung out with the theater a little bit because we were in the same department, and they would perform sometimes, and some of those people would make you feel the emotions, and it's more intense than a movie because you're actually watching them. They're looking at you. It makes you want to get up out of your chair and run away.
I don't think you know, this is a story you do not know, but about me. So I took a job as part of the creative team, but it was also an acting job for a professional haunted house. But when I say a haunted house, I mean
like a Halloween Horror Nights haunted house,
multi-million-dollar. Kind of, but it was a privately owned multi-million-dollar investment.
It's not the one where they can actually touch you, is it?
No, we could not touch.
You know about that one? There's probably going to be a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know about that, but it was not that one. Not that one. The one where it's like that, like if you can survive like 24 hours, there's like a prize or whatever. Yeah. That crazy one. Yeah. No, it's not that bad, but it was an interactive multimedia horror experience where it's like you've got professional actors. It was in Atlanta. Everybody was a professional actor. Pretty much not everybody. Everybody who was in like a real role in this, not just like a jump scare, was a professional actor. And there was a plot, and when you got to this, and this was something that I championed as part of the creative team, when you arrived to the parking lot, from that moment, you are actually in the experience, but you don't know it yet. And so what the plot of what you were going to experience is that you were going to a haunted house, and at the haunted house that you were at, you have actors who are playing actors at a haunted house, but meanwhile, while you are in the middle of the haunted house, some other people have broken into the haunted house, and they are killing the actors and customers.
Oh my God.
And you are now in the middle of an emergency.
So some of the customers weren't really customers, but they looked like they were getting killed. So you were like, oh my God, this ain't no game no more.
Yes, you would have people that would not every group.
So you feel like you're in the Purge or something at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not every group. Not every group is going to have somebody with a plant. It's only some. You only have to have some, because if you do it with everyone,
then everybody's going to know.
You have some people that are like,
kills the illusion.
And so kills the illusion. But during this, we have like all of it was rigged up with like these. A lot of these horror attractions have like video screens with jump scares and stuff like that. You know, like with like pre-recorded video things. We had those that were running, but they were modified. And so they had the cheesy stuff going on to give you the feeling of this is cheesy until the emergency happened. And now they cut off and they have emergency messages telling you to please not panic and continue through the haunted house. The exits are clearly marked. Continue forward.
That's fun. See, I went to Halloween Horror Nights.
I played.
Okay. And what you're describing sounds scarier than what they did, because theirs was just scary balls to the wall from the start of the room to the end. Like I went through the Walking Dead house. There's like this, you're scared already. There's this strobe light that like it flashes on for like a half a second or two, and then it goes off. And then there's like this meat hanging in this room. There's a light on, nothing in front of me, goes off, comes back on. There's a zombie in my face. And I screamed like a little girl. And then the light goes off and he's gone. You talk about trying to run out of a place.
They're no joke down there at Horror Nights. They're real good.
But what you're saying is more like foreplay.
It was psychological. And so like there was a lot that I'm leaving out. Just like there's like 45 minutes of story that you don't realize you're involved in.
Yeah, I don't think we have time to get all that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We're not gonna go that, but. When you're experiencing it, you're experiencing like 45 minutes of stuff before you even get into the haunted house, and you don't realize you're in something yet. And then by the time you get to the end,
before things are starting to pop off.
Yeah, you're just in line. You're just in line. Yeah, you're just in line. You're just part of your. But there's things happening. There's interactions between staff that are worried that you don't like. You hear over like you overhear occasionally, and I played the leader of the group that showed up to kill everyone. And so they
did you have a red umbrella?
About halfway. No, I didn't.
It's a shame.
Before they got through there was a lot of like pre-recorded stuff, messages from me, so they knew my face by the time they made it to the end, and then that's the finale. And the way that we constructed it was by the time people got to the end, about 70% of the people were convinced it was real.
Oh my God.
And when they see the person that they think is legitimately going to kill them walk around a corner quietly, and it was like lit with the haze, it's kind of very Negan-esque, and like, you know what I mean, where it's just ominous. I just come walking out and I just start talking to them friendly. There's no jump
was
scare.
That the skit
it's quiet.
that I saw on YouTube?
So that is from in my acting reel. That is from the multimedia experience.
Okay.
Yeah. So that character starts having a full-on conversation with them, and then
that was creepy.
My crew shows up. And then you realize you're pinned, and there's no escape. God. And now you've backed yourself against the side of a wall, and you don't know where to go. And then that's when all of the chainsaws, all of the chainsaws come at you. Not just a couple.
And they don't know there's no chain on it.
Yeah. They've already been hit with a chainsaw way earlier to desensitize them and feel like it was over. And then they're hit with multiple.
Oh my God. I wish I'd have known about that.
It was a lot of fun.
Was that in it?
It was a lot of fun. It was in Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah.
It was in Atlanta. Yeah. There are some people that I don't even know if they want credit that they were working there, but they have some fun IMDb credits. But they were part of the cast. We had a lot of fun.
Man, I hate to cut.
We scared the.
Yeah. I hate to cut this off because I'm having so much fun. We have to do this some more. I'm thinking we're getting close to the 3-hour mark.
Good. That's what I want. I didn't want this to be a situation where you felt like I didn't give you my all, okay? Because I'm not going to give somebody more than an hour and a half, okay? But for you, I'm giving you 3. I'm giving you 3 hours.
I love it. I mean, to me, we're just having fun doing what we used to do anyways. Like we used to sit at your house after we went to Dairy Queen, and we would listen to rap music. And like, that's when I started liking rap music, because we couldn't believe what they would play on the radio. And it was hilarious to me. And we would just talk like this for 3 hours. And then I'd go home tired. My parents would be in the bed. I'd go home, go to bed. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
That's what we're going to do.
So Jonathan Realz, I'm going to put all of your links in the notes, and people go
JonathanForReals.com.
Go look at all of the notes and follow everything that Jonathan's got going on. Make sure that you look out for the marks, because it's going to be streaming. If it might be streaming by the time I put this up, but if it's not, make sure that you're looking, because
it probably will. I think we're at the point. I'm so close to being able to tell you where it's going to be streaming, but
not yet.
Not able to.
I'm seriously.
I can cover my mouth. And tell you. And then you can edit out the audio if it's wrong.
You text it to me later. Anyways, I might actually start uploading these sooner than I said, because there's a lot of momentum building up, and my dreams are coming true. I can't tell you all the people that I've been talking to that have said they're going to come on this, but like some of them are pretty big deal. And I'm excited, and you're one of them. So I really appreciate it. Like, I knew that you come on here because you're my friend, but if you weren't my friend, I would want you on here anyways.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I that's all I really want in life is to be able to do cool stuff with my friends.
Exactly.
It's what a good way to live life, right?
All right, buddy. I love you very much.
Family. Love you too,
Brothers
buddy.
for life.
Brothers
Talk
for
to you
life.
later.
Talk to you later, man.